Hello, hello. How are we doing? How are we doing tonight? It is a Wednesday night. Welcome to the Action Lab, the premier sports and entertainment talk show on Twitch. It's like chatting sports with your friends in your family room, except your friends are all over the world, Scotty.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to sit next to most of you people, to be live. I have no idea. Chris, we got a hype train going to start us off tonight.
We have hype trains going left and right. What is
Valor in here just gifting subs left and right. Thank you so much, Valor.
Unreal.
Level 2 hype train. We're about to head to the moon here, Chris.
We are going to the level 4 hype train. Let's go. We have a lot of handshakes going on right now. We're just sharing the love. Valor, thank you so much for the love. Clout, welcome in, everybody. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. I'm going to get to all you guys in a second, but thank you guys for being a part of the stream so far. We're only like a minute in, and it's already hyped.
Chris, I'm going to be honest. It makes perfect sense that people. It's most likely, actually, that we would have a hype train prior to us speaking, because the moment we start talking, it's downhill, Chris.
I mean, we have a packed show.
Downhill. Goodness, everybody.
Gosh.
Bringing the heat tonight.
Let's
go.
Let's go. Man, let's get the air horn going, guys. Woo! Man, what a way to see. We got some AFC West, NFC West previews. We got a lot of news to get to in the top of the show, and we have a coming in hot. And I can't think of a better way to start the show like we just did, with all of your love rolling in the chat. We have a level 4 hype train, and it feels great.
So good.
Oh my goodness. Good. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. Oh. Hey, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much.
Biddies, let's go.
Marie. Oh my goodness.
I just resubbed for 5 months on a gifted sub from Moon Princess. Thank you, Moon.
Come on,
Gifting
man.
a sub to me, myself, and I. You know, how great is that? I can't be subbing, Chris. I want every sub to be one of our fans. I don't want to be one of our sub people.
You know, you got to do what you try to just, let it go, right? And let someone else just do the heavy lifting for you, huh?
Oh, for sure. I mean, have you seen inflation these days, Chris?
Oh, man. I'm telling you. Hey, TH Poppy, first time in. Welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic...
Rip Vinny. Also, we are going to the court of Goodell soon.
Yeah. The court of Goodell, where Goodell. Why do I keep saying Goodell as if it's not Goodell?
Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman, for the raid. Chairman, I saw that you hopped on real quick before us. Man, I feel bad, Chris, because all these people's streams that I want to check out more often than I do, I want to, but I got a full-time job. My wife got a full-time job, and then we have a 1, 3, and 5-year-old, and I just I was putting them to bed. And I'm like, I can't turn this on. I won't be even pay attention.
Indians fan, what's going on? Health, appreciate the bits. Poppy, it looks like you are a Carolina fan. Welcome in. Let's give Poppy a nice warm Action Lab welcome. Let's go.
11-6 for Carolina, just on the Baker train.
I mean,
apparently
11-6. Hey, Poppy, go back and check out some of our old highlights and YouTube, and we have all of our podcast platforms that we stream to. So make sure you go back and check out what we had to say about the Carolina Panthers in that division. You won't regret it. I did. Thank you, Football Wife. I think that came through.
Yeah, Football Wife.
Marie.
We should give her more credit, but it's almost like a foregone conclusion that she's going to take care of everyone on here. So thank you for the resub for 137 straight months. I think it said, Football Wife. I'll have to double check it. We'll go back to the tape after.
Welcome in, everybody. Guys, we got a big show tonight, so we want to get things started off on the right foot here. So with that being said, guys, we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline with everything fantasy football. After this division preview, we are hitting fantasy football hard because we did to make sure you guys know what's going on, right? Let's go. Let's get it. So keep in mind, we are live every Wednesday and Sunday. Again, my name is Chris. This is Scott. For all of you guys who are new, we are your hosts for the Action Lab. So we have content for you leading up to the NFL season, and we have the countdown. It's getting there. Did I see that we have a Hall of Fame game coming up?
Mañana, Chris.
We have a Hall of Fame game mañana?
Is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. I read it's tomorrow, right? I didn't make that up in my head and my dreams of joy. I mean, let's be honest. This is what happens to me every year, though, with the Hall of Fame game, Chris, is I get super excited. I'm like, football's back. It doesn't matter that it's trash and that none of the starters are even playing. It's football. And then I watch a little bit of it. I'm like, man, this is bad football. But I keep it on, Chris. I keep it on because it's football. It's bad football, but it's football.
Football is back. Let's go.
I mean,
now
the Raiders, run at a Super Bowl begins tomorrow. As does the Jaguars, to be fair. Everyone's run at a Super Bowl begins at some point, you know?
JK, what's up? Moon Princess, Chairman, Marie, all of Diacola, welcome in. Indians fan, it's been a while. Thank you for swinging back in. It's been a minute. We've missed you. So we have a lot of content moving forward on all the fantasy football stuff. So make sure you tune in. If you missed all of our division previews, check our YouTube, check our podcast platforms. We are on all of them. To support the channel, you guys already you're killing it on supporting the channel so far with all your subs, your gifted subs, your bits. Those are all great ways to support the channel. But what we really love is that you guys participate and get all those chats, all your thoughts, all your opinions into the chat. Make sure you do it, because that's what keeps this show so much fun, when we get to see all of your comments on everything we're discussing. Football Wife, !Prime in the chat. That is correct. Go ahead and link your Twitch and Amazon Prime. You'll be able to subscribe to any channel you want on Twitch for free once a month. So go ahead and get that done if you haven't done that already. We would love to have your Prime sub. Prime it up, guys. So, Scotty.
Yes, sir.
Off the top, I want to dive into some like weird stories here in a little bit, but I think we just dive into our top news story. There's so many top news stories this week. There's a lot going on in the world of sports, but let's go ahead. Let's kick it off here. And predictions for tomorrow. Yep.
Bad football.
Bad football.
That's my prediction.
Here's the
probably
thing.
Probably like a 16 to 13 game, if that, and it's just ugly. A lot of field goals, probably.
This happens every year to me. Every single year, you get hyped for this first game, and then you watch it for about a half, and then you're just like, okay, that's enough. It's like, as much as I miss football, I miss good football, and then you realize what you're watching about halfway through. But preseason is shorter this year.
Yeah, well, not the first year, but yes. Just 3 games, except for these 2 teams who get 4 because they're in the Hall of Fame game. But yeah, just 3 games. So the moment it starts, which is this, coming up here, we're only going to have 3 games, and then we're firing on all cylinders, opening up on that Thursday night.
Yep.
Moon Princess, your Buffalo Bills visiting the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Cannot wait.
We will be live for that.
Oh my goodness.
We will be live for that.
Let's go.
Remember the Bills Chiefs, bro? That was crazy. Clout.
What? No, I forgot about that one. Totally forgot it. No, I'm a huge Chiefs fan, and I remember very well knocking my camera off on accident when I was watching it, going crazy. I was running around the house. My wife was yelling at me because the kids were asleep, and I was like, I mean, this is me as tame as I can get right now. So football brings it out, man, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Well, guess what, too? We also have some socials to follow. Just so you know, through the socials in the chat, we posted a new TikTok today. Go check out the TikTok. Think you'll like it. Chairman will especially like it, I think. So go ahead, check that out. And I see Cuban Benny's retweeting us right now, the show. So thank you so much, Cuban. Latest followers. Diacole has been following for 392 days. Yeah, hit that follow button. Hit that.
That's more than a year, Chris. That's more than a year.
Isn't that crazy? We've had people following for over a year. Wild. So, hey, we got another year ahead of us, and a year after that. You guys can't get rid of us that easy, right? You guys are going to be... Yeah, you're in it for the long haul.
We're going to be on as long as VIN SCULLY was as a broadcaster. So good luck, guys. Buckle up.
Casually average. Hey, looks like we're back in the lab. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Boom. Let's go. All right, let's dive into our big stories. You guys know how to support the channel, and hey, jump in if you want to just throw in your thoughts. That's the biggest thing. Starting off the stream. By the way, 35 days, 18 hours, 27 minutes, and 7 seconds, according to Football Wife's NFL kickoff countdown. We're almost less than a month away. Almost less than a month. But we want to start out first with some big news. We've been having a lot of tragedy happening with big name. And in tragedy, Vin Scully passing away. He lived an absolute amazing life. Vin Scully is a legend, Dodgers announcer. He transcends time. His voice, Scotty, is one of the most amazing voices in all of sports. So, legendary broadcaster, 94 years old, 67-year career calling games in Brooklyn and Los Angeles. Longest tenured broadcaster with a single team in sports history. I mean, that's so cool. I mean, we talked a lot about how the game is such a... Sports are just so incredible in what they do to bring people together, cheer for a team. But sometimes you lose track of like some of these other aspects of what also happens in sports that you don't realize until they're gone. And, you know, Vin Scully is the voice of baseball. We just lost Bill Russell. Bill Russell, what he transcended outside of the game. Here you are with Vin Scully, two legends dying within a week of each other. Man, Scotty, this is a wild one, man, and we're gonna be missing him. And we have a nice little thing at the end of the show for Vin, so make sure you guys stick around. It's gonna be worth it. I guarantee it. But
yeah, I mean, hard to argue that Vin Scully is the single greatest identifiable voice in the history of Major League Baseball, for sure. You said it, 67 years broadcasting for the Dodgers. I think if someone made the mistake of letting me broadcast a baseball game, I'd be gone after 67 minutes. They would be like, all right, you're out. You're out. And this dude did it for 67 years and honestly was just as good in his 67th year as he was at the start. Like, he was iconic. I have a good friend who's a huge Dodger fan who was a diehard Vin Scully guy. That was his dude. He's got like Vin Scully shirts and was just up late last night, like watching MLB Network as they tributed to him and like couldn't sleep. What an iconic guy. Like, this paragraph I read alone, like, is insane. When I read it, I didn't even realize all these things. Like, he was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, obviously, back in 1982, Chris.
That's like before both of our time.
Yeah, neither of us were born. He received a historic achievement award from the commissioner in 2014. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016. Like, that's how big of a deal Vin Scully was. Like, an absolute icon. Like, you know, sports is great on their own, but it's nice that like you start to identify with the guys who bring the game to you, right? Especially if you're a hometown team, like if you live in LA or you're a Dodger fan. Like, he was in your home for 6 months out of the year, almost every day, and just brought it every single day. You know, from all accounts, was one of the nicest guys out there, like approachable, never got, you know, above and beyond like the game, and just had a passion and love for the game, and lived a solid 94 years, which that's a good run, to be honest. That's a good life. So R.I.P. Vin. Thanks for everything you did for the sport of baseball and just, you know, as a human being.
Hey, cheers. I'll drink to that. Throw it in the chat. I'll drink to that. Cheers to Vin. And he's going to be calling games from, you know, the sky above.
I'll
drink
to that.
Yep.
Cheers. Casually average 67. Wow, that's an average life expectancy in a lot of places. Whiskey, welcome in. Welcome. How have you been, Whiskey? It's been a bit. Did you know that the character Scully in X-Files was named after Vin Scully? I did not know that.
Did not know that. Fun fact.
That's a great fact. APC. Baseball's not really big in Australia. Yeah, you guys got cricket out there. Cricket. Yeah,
they bounce the ball and whatever.
I still don't know how cricket works.
I don't understand.
I couldn't understand the whole rule set for that. So
there's a paddle and a ball, and you bounce it and you hit it, and the game can go on for days. Apparently, one match.
And guys, again, I will have something nice, really nice at the end of the show. Nice little.
He'll be calling games in the giant press box in the sky with Madden and Pat.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Hey. I mean, he's on a Mount Rushmore of announcers, isn't he? He's got to be.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, he's certainly the most iconic in baseball, in my mind, and that puts him certainly on Rushmore right there. Because, I mean, announcing baseball is not easy. There's a lot of slow moments, Chris. Like, there's a lot of in between, right? You gotta keep people engaged and entertained. Maybe you're not always talking about what's going on in the field, and that's part of it too, especially for baseball commentators. Marie has a nice comment here in the chat. The loss of Vin Scully is a very sad day for me. He's the reason I became a fan of baseball. My grandma took us to all of the Dodger games years after they moved from Brooklyn. My grandma was my hero and the reason I love sports. R.I.P. to the greatest man to do it. Amazing. See? Kills it.
No.
He's affected so many lives.
That was a quick, deep drive by Castellanos. Yep. There was another one in here where it was, I can't remember who said it. Let me go back in because it was worth reading. And I think it was someone who said it was like in the background of where I have to find it. Give me a second.
I didn't see that one. I missed it.
It was something where it was in the background, like you always, it was like music. You always had it on in the background, and always had the voice that you would always listen to, and it's like just that background. You just hear the voice and just feel good about what you're listening to, and while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. So, yay. Rip Vin, he had a fantastic life, and we can't wait to highlight a little bit more of Vin later on in the show. So,
Moon, good night. For those of you who don't, I don't know if I put this on blast, but Moon said in the Discord, second time with COVID in the last, her and Biden are trying to compete or something on who's going to get COVID more in the couple months here. So second time in a couple months for Moon. Get some rest. Thanks for hopping on at least for a little bit, and rest up. Make sure you get all this COVID nonsense, as I said in the Discord, out before the Bills play on that Thursday night. You got 5 weeks. That's plenty of time. Expect no excuses at that point.
No, you'll be just fine. You'll be getting better before you know it. By the way, I need to update our subs. We had what do we have? 17 or 13 or something? 56, I think.
My son would have predicted 1 million. He's like, we got 1 million, and I'd be like, yeah,
we're approaching that 75. Let's go. All right, next up. All right, now we got to get back into it. So you had to pick a picture of Deshaun with a small towel, didn't you, Chris? Didn't you? It's probably what he uses as his massage therapy sessions.
That's probably a way bigger towel.
That's way bigger. He probably uses like a tissue from a tissue box for his towel. I don't know, but we had some news. So Sunday night when we got off the air, we knew this was going to be coming down pipeline on Monday. And there's no good guy in this picture. So we were anticipating the decision, what would happen with Deshaun Watson. And sure enough, came down, 6-game suspension was handed to Deshaun for his transgressions or his alleged situations with these massage therapists. So there's a lot to dive in. There's a lot to unpack with this one. So immediately, Twitter was raging about. You saw things trending all over the place. Big Ben was popping in and saying some things, or people were relating to other. Calvin Ridley was trending for his suspension a whole year for betting, $1,500 on his team to win, and he, all these other little transgressions that other players have done over the course of the years. Gordon. Was for all of his marijuana that he smoked was trending also about all of his suspensions for weed. Yet Deshaun Watson has these girls, these 24, and then he had 66 other instances that were not all accounted for or whatever. There's
66 different women masseuses over the course of 16 months or something stupid.
Insane. That's insane. So when 6 games came down, a lot of people were going straight to Twitter to talk about this, and rightfully so. It seemed very light. it seemed that was not going to be enough. And we were waiting, trying to figure out what would happen. What would Roger Goodell do in these next couple days? Because he had a certain period of time where he would be able to go in, take a look at this, and figure out whether or not they wanted to appeal this. And sure enough, we find out today that they are appealing the 6-game ban, and they will try to look at maybe a longer sentence potentially here. Tougher penalty for violating the league's personal conduct policy in wake of the disciplinary officer Sue Robinson's ruling. She's the one that ruled in favor of this 6-game suspension. And again, there's a lot that goes into this because there's been a lot of inconsistencies with the NFL. If there's one thing that's on the fault of the NFL, Scotty, it's the fact that they're all over the place with how they punish players and punish people and teams and owners. And there's a consistency issue. We're going to get to that in another story. However, what were your thoughts on the original 6-game suspension flowing into this appeal by the NFL?
Listen, I was a little surprised. The longer it went on, the longer it took. For some reason in my mind, it went to me where I was thinking maybe 8 games is what Sue Robinson was going to come out and say. Obviously, 6 is what it was. What didn't make sense to me is when you actually read the findings from Sue Robinson, she basically states in her, packet of everything that, whatever that's called. I don't know what that's called. Anyway, she basically states, like, I find him, this is the most egregious, non-violent sexual assault, or maybe not assault, whatever, that's ever occurred in the NFL. She finds him to be that this absolutely happened in the sense that, like, he went in with the intent of of making them uncomfortable, putting them in a bad position, and also, like, basically making them touch his genitals when they didn't want to. Like, she admits all of this. She's like, there's corroborating evidence. So for Whiskey Bravo, he's like, Watson hasn't been proven guilty, period. Come on, man. Listen, you're right. In the court of law, that has not occurred. That is true. But it's 24 different women. It's 24 women. And he had 66 women that most of them weren't even licensed in massage therapy. Like, come on. Put it together. He knew what he was doing. It's gross. It's disgusting. What Sue Robinson basically fell on is, despite all of this, she kind of put the onus on the NFL that, like, I'm limited in how long I can suspend this person based off of your past suspensions, which is dumb to me in the sense that, like, this is a new process with the new CBA. This is the first time it's gone to an arbitrator, and just instead of just being in Goodell's hands, and that's what it was agreed to in this past CBA. But she had the opportunity to, like, reset the boundaries. And first of all, I don't even agree with her sentiment of, like, I can't do more than this because no one's ever got more than this. I know that there was only 4, I think it was 4, maybe 5 of those cases were actually presented to hers, because the rest had settled and aren't able to, you're not, once you settle, there's an NDA where you're not allowed to talk about it, I'm sure, at all. So they can't bring any evidence to the table. So, but she knew about the 24, 25 instances. Even if there's only 4, like Zeke, 5-6 years ago, I forget when it was, had 1 instance and got 6 games. He got 6 games for it after an arbitrator in that case recommended 0 because the evidence was very, very not consistent at all. Like, it was not a great storyline by the female in that one, and Goodell even still gave him 6 games. So the fact, like, try each one of them separately. So, all right, 6 games for the first, 6 games for the second, 6 games for the third. Like, each one of them is its own, it should be its own independent case and independent suspension. So, fine if you want to give 6 games per, I'm good with that. Or even 3 games per, or 4 games. But quite frankly, the appeal was so obvious, Chris. Like, I knew the appeal was coming. And I'll let you talk about it before I rattle off on one other point, because I've been talking for far too long.
No. I mean, and the appeal came down by Roger Goodell. And the thing is if he doesn't appeal this, the backlash on the NFL is absolutely insane. They'll be getting hit from all over the place. But so with that being said, it'll be interesting to see what ends up transpiring with this, because how long do these appeal processes work, Scotty? How long do these go? I mean, I don't.
I don't know. My understanding was actually that like it's basically in Goodell's hands, but then I read something about like Goodell gets to appoint another, like appeals arbitrator or whatever to decide, look at this one. And the news that came out is the NFL is looking at an indefinite suspension, which indefinite means it could be longer than even a whole season. Like they might be looking for more than a season, which I hope they get it, but I'd be surprised if they do. Looking at the chat here, what do we got in the chat, Chris?
We have a lot in the chat. Let's go ahead. Let's go back up here. I have a lot to get to. So burden of proof is different in civil litigation. Also, the judge did view the reviewed allegations as more likely than not, says Casual. Cornhusker, welcome in. How you been, buddy? It's been a little bit. How you doing?
Which, ironically, the term more likely than not is also the threshold in a civil case. Not in a criminal case, but in a civil case, which no civil case, because, there were 2 grand juries that decided not to indict him or whatever. But in a civil case, all you need is a more likely than not in order to basically win the case if you're the defendant. Or not the defendant, the prosecution.
Cornhusker says, I never had a job I wouldn't have been fired for what he did. True. Yeah. I mean, that's you're held to a different standard, right? Whiskey, the NFL appealing the suspension is ridiculous. That's like saying, oh, wait, we didn't punish you enough. Let's give you a worse sentence. Isn't that a lot of double jeopardy? I mean, he also says, did this guy literally go through every therapist in town since he was a rookie?
Yeah. I knew, first of all, the appeal was going down. And Chris, yesterday, the news about Stephen Ross came out, right? And the suspension for the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. The NFL looked into whether, there were reports through Flores after his firing and his suit on whether Stephen Ross was paying him to throw football games, which they found that to be inconclusive in the sense that it was like said in jest, basically, is what they're saying. Like the NFL's like he was joking around when he said it, which okay, probably not, but okay. He was saying it was like probably one of those kidding, but not. Anyway, but what they did find is that the Miami Dolphins had impermissible communication with Tom Brady twice. Once when he was with the Patriots, and once when he was with the Buccaneers. Both of those instances prior to him being a free agent, as well as communication with Sean Payton, to become the coach. So with that, they laid the law down yesterday. They stripped them of a first-round pick next year, a third-round pick the following year, suspended Stephen Ross through some point in October, and their CEO through the whole year, I believe, in meetings, and fined them as well. Like Stephen Ross got fined $1.5 million. I think the other guy got $500,000. This was intentional, Chris. The timing of this was intentional. When this came out yesterday, I was like, this is so obvious what the NFL is doing. Because one of the biggest arguments in the Deshaun Watson case is the fact that the NFL did nothing to Robert Kraft, right? When Robert Kraft, the news came out a couple years ago that he had the little rub and tug at the massage parlor, he ended up not receiving any sort of punishment for that whatsoever. Right or wrong. So, because that was an argument, the NFL's like, okay, we got to get tough on the owners. Here we go. We're going to release this the day before we appeal to show, hey, we will punish owners. We will hold them accountable. We will do this. The moment that came out, I'm like, this is intentional. They're doing this to set up the appeal 100%. And that was the timing of it. They knew they had this decided probably months ago. and they released it at the perfect point, showing like, all right, here we go. You make that point again because we do punish owners.
And the thing is, it's just it's like when you get caught with something and you try to fix it after the fact, right? It's like if you're at home and your wife catches you like you didn't do the chores that you were supposed to do, and then she walks in and all of a sudden you're trying to do it, but that doesn't make it better. It's just like she knows. It's kind of like this. They've put in just this long period of time where they have inconsistencies with how they drop just penalties for players, for all of these different allegations and things that go on in the NFL. They haven't been consistent, and they haven't done it to a point where it's just a standard. There's no standard. They just kind of, sure, let's do this, let's do that, until there's a standard and this might set that from here on out. Maybe they look at things a little differently, and they have set standards for, sexual assaults and physical abuse and domestic violence and all these things. And maybe they hold ownerships to a different standard when it comes to some of the big, like, this is kind of a wake-up call, if not for what Roger Goodell, to be like, you need to figure your shit out, because right now you're going through this garbage because you haven't been as consistent as you need to be.
Now, I will say, and you touched on this very briefly when starting this conversation, you talked about how Calvin Ridley and his year-long suspension for gambling has been a big talking point with fans, especially on Twitter and different social media platforms and wherever, saying, oh, so the NFL suspends a guy for betting $1,500 for a year, but Deshaun Watson only gets 6 games. One, the NFL did not do this. I mean, the NFL had no role in the deciding factor. It was a third-party arbitrator that decided the 6 games. So, but two, I don't like comparing those two at all. In fact, I like, they just, listen, here's the deal. I work in sports. I work in baseball. We are talked to every year, even in the front office, about how serious it is if you bet, or if you're found to bet on baseball, working in baseball.
Ask Pete Rose, right?
Yeah, and the same with football. Like, if you play in a sport, you cannot bet on the sport, and I guarantee, and just like in baseball, I guarantee the minimum suspension for an athlete that's actively playing in the sport, that bets on the sport. I know he was on leave with mental stuff from the Falcons at the time, but is a year. And whether you like it or not, the monetary value or when he was betting it doesn't matter. You bet on it at all, you're gonna get a year, and the NFL has no choice there. Like, you can't get soft on it. If you get soft on it, all of a sudden other guys start to be like, all right, I'm only gonna get suspended 3 games if I bet and they catch me. I'll bet on a few games. Like, you can't. He knew the consequences. He did it. Those should be completely separate as far as punishments. I mean, I understand it seems harsh, and yes, I think Deshaun Watson should be suspended at least a season, 100%. But to compare the two, to me, doesn't correlate and isn't fair.
Deshaun Watson's still going to make a ton of money. He's still signed a big contract. He's getting rewarded. Who knows what is going to happen with this, but when he heard that 6-game suspension come down, he was probably like, damn, that's it? I could do this? Hey, that's a 6-week vacation. I could chill. I got money. I'm good. Like, that doesn't tell somebody that's not a way to enforce something that is as serious as this is when it comes to all the things that he's won. The integrity of the shield, right? This is a big deal for the NFL that they have to deal with this in the press. There's a lot. From an NFL standpoint, it's a bad PR thing. From just a personal thing, from a normal human being, he's just a bad human being. That's just the you're telling him it's okay. Like, you're telling him, oh yeah, it's like you're telling your child, I know you did that. Don't do it again. You're telling him the first time you did it was okay. Just don't do it again. And it's just like, you need to figure this out. Figure it out, Roger.
He basically lost almost no money through this suspension. I think it ends up being like $300,000 because his base salary this year is like 1 point something million. It's nothing on his contract. He gets his full signing bonus of like 45 million. He doesn't lose money because the contract was set up, as Cuban Benny here says, structured in a way to avoid. He knew a suspension was coming down. Cleveland knew a suspension was coming down, and they structured it so he avoids losing money in this scenario. So his pocketbook was not affected. I mean, listen, I understand for a lot of people, 300,000 is a lot. Not for someone who signs like a $250 million contract. Basically guaranteed it's not. It's a drop in the bucket. And it's just, and there's footage yesterday, literally from Cleveland camp, where fans are literally like diving over one another at Browns camp to try and get an autograph from Deshaun Watson. And I'm like,
it's crazy, man.
I know football is important to a lot of people, and if you're a Browns fan, you want to be excited about your new quarterback, so you're trying to mentally do like some sort of mental mind fuck in order to like convince yourself that like, oh, he's not so bad and he's not guilty and he was not tried in court and this is ridiculous. But come on, dude, whether he, call him a good or bad person. I mean, obviously he's a bad person for what he did, but ultimately there's clearly some sort of problem there. Like he has some sort of,
there's something there.
Addiction. It's an addiction is what it is. And it's a terrifying addiction that I hope he's getting the help he needs for it, because just because he got caught, I'm not sure that goes away. No, I'm not sure that goes away. Maybe he's like, all right, I won't do it with masseuse. I'll find another way. Like, I hope not. And I hope he's getting the help he needs, because like clearly there's an addictive trait to this that's a problem when you're 66. Is just absolutely wild to have 66 masseuses like that. And we didn't mention it. It was put in the statement as well that he's only allowed to have massage therapy through appointed Browns approved official, like their team massage therapist now, which if I'm a massage therapist there, I'm like, I'm good. Probably. Thank you.
I'm good.
No, thank you. I'll do anybody else, but he can massage himself or something.
Let me get to the chat. Totally. Let me get to the chat here, bro. Redeemed. You got a redemption, by the way. Cowboys. Don't say anything about the bet. Cowboys are one of the biggest choke artists in the NFL when it comes to big games.
Wait, we're supposed to say something negative?
Yeah.
Or positive? Negative?
Negative.
Along the same lines as you talked about, for as much as I like Dak at certain moments, he hasn't come up big in big moments yet. Like against the best competition, he kind of comes up small. And he did it again against San Fran in the playoffs last year. Like outside of, ironically, his rookie year in his first playoff game against Green Bay, which they did lose, but he played great in that one. That was his best playoff game he's ever played. Was his rookie season in his first one. Since then, kind of dropped the ball. Yeah. So, and I'm a little worried about them and their wide receiver depth. They got an injury to their wide receiving core in camp as well. So, and one of their guys, and Gallup's coming off a torn ACL and won't be ready to go to start. So they're pretty thin beyond CeeDee Lamb.
I wasn't aware of the rules. Cowboys will never succeed until Jerry stays off the field. Fair enough. There was also another one here. What was it? Any owner not named Jones or Kraft. Wonder where Snyder will fall on the spectrum. Snyder's in a rut. I think Snyder's going to be coming down the pipeline, something similar to what we're seeing maybe with the Dolphins. We're going to get to that here. Let's transition to the Dolphins here.
I'm shocked that Snyder hasn't been removed by the other owners at this point. To me, it's just like a matter of time. It's just one story after the other. Like, I think he's the worst of the bunch as far as owners go.
He's not doing well for himself when it comes to his own image and what he's done. Hello, gentlemen. What's up, Broncos? How you doing, my friend? Welcome in. Clout in fantasy. I have a draft tomorrow. Nice. Well, Unfortunately, we're getting
that's an early draft.
That's a
Clout.
very early draft. Typically, drafts happen a little later once you have an idea of like what happens through training camps.
I mean, what if you had it 3 days ago and drafted Tim Patrick?
Oof.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Bruh.
Come on, man. Come on. Apologies in advance to the Cleveland fans that aren't turning blind eye to this situation, but I hope there's plenty of 7-10 and 4-13 seasons ahead of Watson's contract, says Casually.
I mean, I think most people are on board that Cleveland is public enemy one. Like the moment, whenever he comes back, which right now it's scheduled to be against the Baltimore Ravens in week 7. If that changes, we'll see through this appeal, but I think the world will be cheering against the Cleveland Browns for quite a while.
Yeah. That's what I said, but they wouldn't listen, says Clout. Cuban Benny, Dak came up with a big scramble in the biggest game. There you go. Yeah, 100% Cuban. Like, Dak needs to work it out, man. He needs to work it out. I can't wait for Eagles Hassan Reddick jersey. There you go. Boom. I need to actually get my Broncos jersey. I made a decision, Scotty, on my jersey.
Wait. Can I guess?
You can.
You're getting a Broncos jersey.
Correct. I need a new one because all the ones I have aren't on the current roster. So
I think you probably, I mean, you're not going Russ. That's too easy. That's too basic.
Okay.
I think you're going with a young perceived stud here in Denver. I'm going to guess, and I don't know. I'm going Pat Surtain.
You got it. Yeah.
Boom. Let's go.
I'm going Pat Surtain. He's going to be here a while. I feel like he'll be in a good spot. I have my old Champ Bailey jersey when he got first traded here. So I love defense. I have Von Miller. Like, you know what's weird? I don't have a quarterback jersey for the Broncos. My wife has a Peyton Manning jersey. I have an Elway jersey from like retro. So like that's old. Like I don't really, from when I'm wearing it week to week, I don't wear my Elway jersey. But I've always gone defense on jerseys. Von Miller and Champ Bailey. So it's just kind of the way I've done it.
Marie in the chat, she's going Miners.
Ooh.
Is that the one? Are you just getting the cutoff? Are you going to go full Miners with a little belly showing? A little tummy? I don't know.
Hey,
that is a look. I wonder if you buy a Miners jersey, if they require you to get I don't know what that's called when it cuts off at the off at the bottom of the rib cage ish, Chris. That's the Miners look.
Broncos signed local kid Max Borghi from Pomona High School. Nice.
Borghi. Did he go to Washington State? Is that right? I could be very wrong, Broncos, but let me know if I'm right on that. I feel like that's right, but I could be very wrong.
So we alluded to this, and we covered a lot of this, so we won't spend a lot of time here. But there was some things that came down in lieu of all of the Deshaun Watson stuff, and that was the penalties dropped down to the Miami Dolphins, which, you have the Flores stuff going on with that litigation and lawsuit. You have the whole thing with Tom Brady where, he was accordingly or reportedly, allegedly visiting with the Dolphins on a yacht and they were throwing games and all these different things were coming down. So the NFL dropped these suspensions these fines and everything else. So they forfeit one of their two 2023 first round picks. As well as a third round pick in 2024. Ross was fined $1.5 million. And, according to a source, discipline amounts to a 6-game suspension. The Dolphins play their week 6 game against Minnesota Vikings on October 16th. He's also been removed from Ross has been removed from all of his current committee assignments, which include finance, media, international, and legalized sports gambling committees. So he can't do anything on those fronts. But Dolphins limited partner Bruce Beal was also found to have conducted many of the discussions with Brady, and his agent was fined $500,000, and he's prohibited from attending any league meetings through the end of the 2022 season. So there was a lot happening, and it all, again, is kind of related to the Deshaun Watson timing of everything. interesting, right? But Flores, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on with that when it comes to, the racial aspect of what he's doing in his litigation and the fact that they had him throw games. He was one of the best coaching candidates on the market going into this offseason, Scotty. Everyone kind of wanted to be on, see what was going on with him. And then this came out and, he's gotten under the wing in Pittsburgh and under Tomlin. So now he's got a little thing going on there. So crazy stuff going on in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, listen, talking about first the Flores stuff, I kind of mentioned before, I think it's pretty convenient for the NFL's findings in that to be inconclusive and that he was just joking on the throwing of games. Because if they find him guilty of that, that's a worst case scenario for the NFL. When you all of a sudden have an owner proven to tell coaching staff to throw games, like, you will never hear the end of every call in a game is going to be like, well, the NFL instructed them to throw it, or any drop pass. Oh, the team was instructed to lose this game. Like, every fan will question every minute detail of every game if for one instance that things were fixed in a certain fashion by a certain ownership or coaching staff or
100%.
Whatever it may be. So you can't have it. And to be fair, the Dolphins did win a couple games down the stretch that year to cost themselves like the number one overall pick. So in my mind, they were still trying, whether that was put by ownership down to Flores or not. I think Flores still attempted to win, and so did the players. So I agree that in that sense, it didn't affect the team. Whether Ross was serious or not in his joke, who knows? Now, how bad does it look for the Dolphins in the sense that they were trying to reach out to Tom Brady and to get a new quarterback, and he went to a team in that same state,
another
and
Florida
won a Super Bowl that first year, and then he's with that team, and they're communicating with him again, and he retires, and he comes back to that team again. So it's a bad look. And here's the worst part of it: them losing. So they had 2 first-round picks next year in the draft. They had their own, and they had San Francisco's. So they forfeit their pick now. They still have the 49ers first-round pick. But they needed that draft capital. Let's say Tua falls flat on his face this year, like a lot of people think he will. And they needed that draft capital if they wanted to move up, potentially to grab one of the elite quarterbacks that's going to be in what I think as of right now is going to be a great quarterback class next year coming in. When you look at, Bryce Young from Alabama and what's his name at Ohio State, and those 2 guys are like absolute studs, and there's a couple other guys as well. So they're losing. Ironically, they try to get Brady, they fail, and now and then they take Tua. Herbert goes a pick later. And now, if Tua falls on his face, they're not going to have the capital to move up to get a quarterback next year because they lose a draft pick with all this collusion and talking when they can't to Tom Brady. Like, what a dumpster fire. Tyreek Hill, enjoy your stay in Miami.
But I was just about to say, why would you ever move off the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, Scotty?
Yeah, something like that. It's almost like he has a podcast where he wants to say ridiculous things in order to get people to listen and watch.
Oh my
I don't know.
Goodness. Roshacker said to tell you hi. What's up, Rosh? Hope you're doing well, my friend. That came out too. He's trying to sell his podcast, do the Draymond or all these different people that try to have sound bites, but recently mentioned that Tua is the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Okay. Well, we'll believe that when we see it. Maybe within like 5 yards, and he can hit you within 5 yards. Let's see.
Broncos in the chat might go with Chase as my number 1 pick in fantasy football. What say you? At first, I read that as you had the number 1 overall pick and we're taking Chase, and I might question that a little bit. But I mean, Jamar Chase is a first-round pick for sure. So depending on where you're drafting, obviously you asked Football Wife, not me, but Football Wife strangely approved, which is shocking. Thought she would have been like, no, Chase isn't that dude. Take T. Higgins.
Clout, love defensive jerseys. Yeah, I mean, I'm a defensive guy. I like defense, so it's locking in. Certain. We're going with it. Let's see. Tanking is in the same family as betting on your own sport, says Cuban. Yeah. Marie, is that 35 days at Football Wife? It's 35 days. We're almost there. Clout, Eagles have a 13-4 schedule. Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Cloud is hyping. He loves the Eagles.
He loves his Eagles.
I already forgot. He said, who did he say is going 11-6? Early on.
Oh,
wasn't it Clout?
Yeah, maybe. I think I can't remember. We've had so many in the chat. What else do we have? Oh, if you can't say something nice about Cleveland, why do we have to say something nice about Cleveland? Why?
We have to.
Let's see. If we can't say something nice about Cleveland,
this is difficult.
They have.
I was hoping to be like, I like their uniforms, but no, those are shit.
They
literally,
they don't even they don't even have good alternate uniforms or any. They have a good defense, don't they? They've lost pieces.
They got a good pass rusher in Myles Garrett.
Yeah, I was gonna say they have a good defense.
Certainly like a top 5. Certainly, you can't argue not top 5. Myles Garrett.
Why are you punishing us? Why are you punishing us with this, JK?
Nick Chubb. I like Nick Chubb.
Hey.
I like Nick Chubb. I'm a big Nick Chubb guy.
We
Chubby
love
Chubb.
Hey, it's all about the Chubb.
Well, you can't say that about Cleveland, Chris. That's inappropriate. I mean, come on. This is a family show.
I'm sorry. All right.
Jeez. It actually is extra. How many jokes are going to be made about Chubb and Watson this year?
Oh, it's going to be
just a lot.
I can't imagine all the fantasy football. You know how there's all those fantasy football names too about players and like changing their names and anyways. So there you have it.
I gotta. Never mind. Nope. That's it.
Jarvis Landry. Oh wait.
No. They traded for Amari Cooper, who is hurt all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So the Browns are in great shape. They're gonna do just fine. Chris, great idea. Totally. All right. So, okay. Let's move on. We're gonna stay on this. All right. There's kind of a big subject there. I know we're gonna lose some people on this subject, but it's fine. We're not gonna stay too long on it, but it matters. So we're gonna talk about it. And you played some golf today, but we have a few people that are suing golf from the LIV. Everyone who's transferred over to the LIV. We have Phil Mickelson, Bryce DeChambeau, and 9 other golfers that are suspended by the PGA Tour for joining the LIV and have filed a lawsuit against the PGA. By the way, before we get into this, did you know Tiger Woods in this past week? So this came out too. LIV was in the news with this. It was in the news with the Tiger Woods thing. Tiger Woods passed up on $700 to $800 million, almost $1 billion, less than $1 billion to go to LIV. And he's recently said that I'm true to like the tournaments in the PGA. They're historic. They mean something. It's not about the money. Pretty much saying like everyone who's gone over to the LIV tournament or LIV golf is just they're traitors almost, pretty much what he's saying. Everyone's falling asleep in the chat.
Do you think Phil Mickelson, if he would turn around and just put himself against the wall in this photo and be like, they can't see me. How will they see me? I'm blending in. The dude wears black. That's the only thing he wears now is black. Like he's taken on the role of just being the villain, and he looks depressed. He's definitely depressed. He's not the happy Phil we used to see. First of all, the Tiger stuff, Chris, it's bizarre to me that this is news to people, because this to me came out came out a while back. Aficionado. It was reported it was the high 6 figures that Tiger was offered and he declined. This number didn't surprise me. These guys being suspended doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise them. Whether they are able to appeal it and it changes things, I don't know. Listen, I've said it. I get why these golfers will go to the LIV. You get paid. You get a ton of money. You know, you're just golfing. You're doing your job. You're not, you know, everyone wants to say it's blood money, this and that. You can believe that, you know, but you could also argue that, you know, I mean, there's a lot of different, you know, China and the NBA, there's a lot of controversy there too. So like, it's everywhere. If you want to find something to be mad about, you can find to be mad about it. For me as a golf fan, I just hate it in the sense that it's dividing the talent. And it's dividing the game, where I want to see
it's watering it down
all the best. I want to see all the best players in the world play every week in the same tournament, so we know who the best is. Like I've like literally I have 3 favorite golfers. Tiger Woods is A, obviously, and then there's a large gap, and then it's literally Tony Finau and Rory McIlroy. And McIlroy really came on this year for me. Like McIlroy was like, when he called out the live, like I kind of liked it. Enjoyed his spirit, like, and has the most pure swing. I've loved Tony Finau for a long time. He's won the last 2 weeks, and I'm thrilled about it. But I'm also mad that people are like, yeah, but there was so many guys that are in the live, so like, does it really matter? Like, I'm just like, I hate what it does for the sport. That's what bothers me the most. These guys are making. They're in it for the paycheck. If they say otherwise, then that's stupid, and we're not all dumb. Like, that's what you're doing. But at the same time, that's what bothers me, is it's dividing the talent and watering down the game a little bit.
Well, with that being said, I mean, obviously live isn't it's not mainly on a lot of channels that I would like try to find. I'm not looking for live as a casual guy that doesn't watch that much golf, but I'm kind of interested, and I watch maybe a tournament or 2 every year when I'm just like chilling in the background, whatever. Like, I have it on and I keep tabs on a couple of the big ones, right? This almost, makes me not want to watch either one, because it's like, again, you're not watching the best in the world compete against the best in the world in most cases. And it's just like, I worry what this is doing for golf and what the sport is. So, yes, Clout, we do have a Discord. There we go. Join our Discord. We are always talking about sports outside of this stream.
One more thing before we move on, because this is about Bryson DeChambeau, who is now in the live, and how far has he fallen, by the way? Like, he's almost like not even a factor. But in an interview in the last couple days, he basically made this comparison. He's like, what if there was a pizza shop, and this was the only pizza shop in town, and you were a customer at this pizza shop for forever, and you ate there and whatever, and then all of a sudden a pizza shop opens across town, and they offer you like a way better price on the pizza, and oh, by the way, it's also a better pizza, so why wouldn't you go to that pizza? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Bryson. Are you a customer of the PGA? Are you a customer? You're employed by the PGA. The PGA pays you. You're not a customer. It's that comparison drove me nuts. I'm like, that's the dumbest comparison I've ever seen. Like, if you're employed by someone, if you work for an organization and you go to another organization, guess what? That other organization isn't going to welcome you back. Okay, I understand that there's differences there a little bit, but to put it in the sense of being a customer of something, which he's not at all in the PGA Tour, and put it with being a customer, yeah, it makes sense as a customer. This isn't a customer. You're getting paid to be at these events, and like, you are who you are because of the PGA Tour, and you're making the money you are right now because of the PGA Tour. It's dumb. It's so dumb.
It's dumb. Yeah, so that's where we're going to leave it with you here. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this divides the sport. The sport of golf is in a crossroads right now, and how they end up navigating this, from the players to PGA getting sued to how they adjust things. They've already tried to change the way they pay players and try to keep up with live, and they can't do it because they don't have the financial backing to do it. So there's all sorts of things that are going into this that really, from a general sports standpoint, are fascinating in my head, because I'm like, I like the business aspect of sports a little bit too. You've seen that in a couple of my Why It Matter segments.
Scotty, did you sing happy birthday to Tom Brady today?
Is Tom turning 88 today?
Tom's turning 88
He was 87
today.
in our draft. Or in our QB ranking preview, I think I listed him at 87. Is he 88 today? Happy birthday. No, I'm sorry.
No, let it go. Let it breathe.
To you. That's it. That's all I got. Happy birthday, Tom. May you be 1 year older, and may your arm weaken and your brain fizzle to the point that you have to take your studio job as soon as possible.
We need to do more singing for Scotty on the show. I wish Reckoning was in the chat so I could put a vote in the chat. Actually, let me see. I'm gonna do a poll in the chat, and we're gonna do a question. Who wants more singing?
Marie said gross, so I mean, I purposely went a little over the top, but it's still hurtful, Marie. Still hurtful. Oh, unless she's saying gross because I'm saying happy birthday to Tom. Is that it?
There we go. There's a poll in the chat. Who wants more singing from Scotty moving forward? There, vote.
Yeah.
It's in the chat. Go ahead and get to it. Comparison is cheesy, but I get it. You're in a position to do so.
And then he changes it to cheesy. Get it? With pizza, Chris.
Oh,
with pizza.
Cheesy. It ain't easy being cheesy.
Is that what he's doing with cheesy?
Broncos played golf with Super Bowl 50 champion David Bruton Jr. a couple weeks ago. It was a great day. 7 years with the Broncos, one with Washington. There you go. Hey, that's a fun day, right?
I remember him. Not obviously a top tier player, but contributed for sure. That's cool that you got to play with him.
Casually average. Any sport league likely has questionable funding, cash flows from somewhere. One thing to say: if bands are to fight a competing league attorney, don't claim it purely for morally reasons, though. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah,
I didn't even understand what you just said. So
sorry, I was just like trying to read fast to get through it.
Words are hard.
MLB trade deadline just concluded, and there was one team that made a little bit of a splash. There's one team that's pretty much just saying, "Hey, we're going to make a run at this." And I just want to, we're not going to dive into a lot of the other deals because I mean, the biggest takeaway over this last day of the MLB trade deadline revolved a lot around a team in our own division, Scotty, and that's the San Diego Padres. They went on a spending and trading spree to get a lot of top talent. They went, and let me double check the odds now because it's changed quite a bit in the grand scheme of things when it comes to betting on baseball. But all of a sudden the San Diego Padres launched to 5th best top team when it comes to a World Series. So you have the Dodgers still maintaining in that division at plus 350. Yankees are the favorites to currently win. But San Diego Padres, they went from the middle of the pack when it came to World Series to top 5 favorites. Scotty, is this the story of the trade deadline by far?
I mean, absolutely, obviously. I mean, listen, to add Juan Soto and get Josh Bell in the trade, so you're not only getting one guy, you're getting Bell's those are the two guys on the Nationals that were having. Now Soto's had a bit of a down year compared to his 2 prior years, but it's still been amazing. It's a down year for Soto, which is still a top 10 player in the league. But you're adding to a team that's on pace to win 90 games. You're adding Juan Soto. You're adding Bell. They haven't had Fernando Tatis Jr. all season. So between Soto and Tatis Jr., that's 2 of the top players in the league, position players in the league, that you're basically adding to a 90-win team. Along with Bell, you trade for Josh Hader, the closer out of Milwaukee.
Who's a stud.
A top 5 closer probably in the league.
He's been compared
going all in.
He's been compared to Mariano Rivera.
I would like to know if the Saudis are backing San Diego right now. If the Live Tour is backing, I don't know where the money comes from. I don't know where they're getting all this money, Chris. They also extended one of their pitchers to a 5-year, $100 million deal the day before all these trades. The money is endless. somebody look into it. I'm not going to do it, but someone look into if the Saudis are backing the Padres. I feel like that's what's happening here. So, but I mean, I'm excited to watch the Padres. They're going to be a fun team, regardless of whether they win or not. Listen, baseball's so weird. When you make the playoffs, it's about being hot at the right time. The best team a lot of times doesn't win the World Series because it's about you just have to have hot bats, and if you have a couple hot pitchers like that, starting pitchers, like that's gonna carry you as well. Like I remember like Baumgartner like carried the Giants to a World Series on his own. Like it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Like if you get hot pitchers in the playoffs, and that will trump everything. So they have a really good staff. I don't know if it's good enough. It's not the best starting staff in the league, but that lineup between the three guys you got pictured here, Chris, with once Tatis comes back, which seems like he's getting closer, Soto and Machado. I mean, there's no lineup in the league like that with those three. That's three of, you could argue, top 10 guys in the league right there.
So there it's 8. By the way, everyone wants you to sing. 8 votes to 2. So we're gonna do more singing streams.
Maybe we'll just have a musical episode where we're just in song throughout, Chris.
We have a music themed show where we try to like relate whatever topic we're talking about to a song that is relevant to what we're talking. So if we're talking like Red Sox, maybe we do,
red wine. I'm a human jukebox, so I just think of words that equate a little bit. The word red,
or the Avalanche. You have Blink-182. We have to, we could have some fun with it. But yeah, I mean, all right. So yeah, Josh Bell and Manny Machado and Juan. I mean, you named it. Like all the Fernando Tatis. Plus, I mean, just all right. So they're good. They're good. Now, prior to this trade, the top 3 teams have been clearly defined. Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, Mets, Braves, whatever order you want to put them in. They've kind of been in that order or in any particular order. But second tier was a little murky. Like, you didn't really know outside of those contenders who would be rising into that mix to maybe make a run. Well, you just found a team just now that really crushed it at the trade deadline, and that is the San Diego Padres. Where are they at in the standings right now? We're looking at the standings. Let me take a look at this real quick.
They're a wild card right now. So they're not going to win the division. They're way behind the Dodgers. They're 11
and a half behind the Dodgers at this point.
Yeah, way behind the Dodgers, but they're comfortably in a wild card spot. They'll take a wild card spot. And keep in mind, this is the first year where the playoffs are expanded, so they're not in a do or die 1-game playoff as a wild card in order to make it. They're going to be in a 3-game set against one of the other division winners. It won't be the Dodgers because they'll have the best record, so it'll likely be whoever wins the East or Central, depending on where those records fall.
Cuban Benny, there's also one team that didn't make any trades.
What is there?
There's one team
who I can't even. He even put like some picture, some emoji things after that, and I can't tell. I can't tell what that is, Chris. I don't see. It looks like a dinosaur, but maybe like a Triceratops. I don't know, like a purple dinosaur. Is that Barney? Is that Barney, Chris? Did he put Barney after that?
He put Barney for our
Our
Colorado Rockies, who are plus 500,000 to win. Is that 500? Is there 1, 2?
I can't discuss betting, Chris.
I'll do it for you. Plus 500,000 to win the World Series. Let's just say we talked a lot about Lions fans wanting to bet and throw their money away. Can you throw a $10 bet for me? Can I throw away $10 to win a lot of money?
I cannot advise in any fashion, Chris. What I can confirm is that Cuban Benny is right. There was one team that did not make a trade at the trade deadline, and it was your Colorado Rockies.
But hey, my secondary team, the Mets, are doing pretty well. I'll take it. So
they got DeGrom back, Scherzer back. They're going to be firing. I mean, speaking of a team that can dominate just in the playoffs with pitching, DeGrom and Scherzer is the best 1-2 in the league when healthy and pitching well.
I'll take
the Mets lineup kind of sucks, but
I mean,
may not matter. May not matter.
They're 8-2 in their last 10, so I'll take it. All right. Well, there you go. That's what we have here for your top stories. Now, Scotty, we have another division or two to cover when it comes to NFL. Now, the last two, we've already gone through the gamut of all of the others. By the way, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. We are getting into the meat and potatoes of everything we want to talk about when it comes to the NFL. So make sure you guys hit that follow button if you have not already. If you're here and you're lurking in the background, thank you so much for lurking. Thank you for being here. It means a lot. And make sure you hit that follow button. Like I said, if you're enjoying the content, the best thing you could do is join us in the chat, hit that follow button, and have some fun with all of our other Action Lab rats in the community. So again, we're your premier sports entertainment talk show on Twitch. It's like chat with your friends, except you're all over the world. Everyone's all over the world instead of sitting in your family room with you, right?
Chris, it feels like Ben's just staring at me. Like, I feel like I look at the screen and he's looking right at me and he's just smiling and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I don't
know what to do here. Hi, Ben.
He's looking down on the show right now. Yeah. Marie's caught up on YouTube again. Hit us up on YouTube. Marie. I got to get to your comments on YouTube, by the way. So if you haven't joined our YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and there are all the socials there. Subscribe to all of our channels. We're trying to make it big on TikTok and YouTube, so make sure though you go give those two some love. So thank you so much. And
I promise, as the NFL season gets going, Twitter will be more active. I'm gonna do it, Chris. I'm gonna do it. I keep saying that. I know.
I have faith in you. By the way, can we just do real quick one announcement?
Yes.
Do you guys love announcements? How many of you guys are in the Southern California area right now, or living in Southern SoCal? Because Scotty and I are coming to town. We are coming to town in your area, and we would love to meet up with you if you're going to be down that direction. We are going to be in San Diego, California, come this October, Scotty, because today we purchased our tickets to TwitchCon 2022 in San Diego. We will be representing Action Lab at TwitchCon, and we are going to be, rubbing elbows with some of the biggest creators all across the Twitch community. And if you guys are going to be around, we want to meet up with you guys. So we're going to be planning, hopefully, we'll give you more details once we get a little closer, but we will be having a little bit of a meet and greet potentially if you guys are down. If anyone who's in Southern Cal, I think Mandalorian's down there, and I think we got some other people down in like the California area. So yeah,
small state, so they could be. I mean, I'm sure we're in the same area.
So Scotty, yeah, you got your ticket today?
Chris, I gotta talk to you about that after the show.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm gonna get a ticket, but yeah, I'll talk. It's not fun for other people to hear. I wasn't able to, because of my screen name and of that entry. It's not with the affiliation to the show, so I can't get the affiliate ticket, Chris.
Oh yeah,
it wants me to get a community ticket. That's the only option I get.
I'll get you affiliate.
That's why I didn't get it. I'll
get you the affiliate ticket. All you gotta do is log in through our stream. So
I can do that.
Yeah, you'll do that. That's fine. So we will be in Southern California, San Diego for TwitchCon coming up. So if you guys are down there, let us know in the Discord. Again, the Discord, !Discord in the chat, and that'll bring up how you can join, and then we can we'll probably have a room to plan out our meet and greet there. So we want to hang out with you, have a couple drinks, talk some sports live with you. And if you guys want to join us at TwitchCon, feel free to jump in and join us there. You won't regret it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is our first time doing it. So
in San Diego, Chris, do you know what San Diego means in English?
Saint Diego? Saint
Whale's vagina, Chris.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Fun fact. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Chris, I feel like you have not seen the movie Anchorman.
Oh.
Now I'm concerned. I'm concerned. Now I feel like I want to shut the whole show down, and we're just gonna watch Anchorman together, because what just happened? How did you not get that reference?
I guess it's just been a while since I've seen Anchorman. I seriously haven't seen that movie in like ages. So
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Who hurt you, Chris?
Obviously, I have demons. Okay, I have demons. So are you on Twitter, Scotty?
I'm on Twitter, but we have our own. Be more active on. Don't follow me on Twitter because I never post. I just creep. That's kind of what I do in all social media on my own platforms. But
follow us on our Action
Lab Twitter account. I'm going to make sure we're more active in and get that rolling. I promise.
Start a teleprompter fund. There you go. We need to get that. I love lamps, says Cuban. Yeah.
Chris, you gotta check out, like, because Biden at times has said like some wrong things based off the teleprompter, and it's like, and then they clip from Anchorman, like, who put that on the he'll say whatever's on the teleprompter.
It's so true. It's so true.
Good. So good.
But all right, well, let's dive into our feature of the night, and that is our final division preview. We are all wrapped up after tonight, and then we're moving forward with all sorts of fantasy football news as we get injuries in training camp. We'll talk about that later. Just a little cliffhanger. Injuries in training camp and who's going to stand out this year, who we think are sleepers or busts, who you guys should be drafting in your fantasy football league. We are going to be having our own fantasy football league, Scotty, and we are going to be launching that very, very soon. We're close. We're 35 days away, right? So we got to be able to get you all the information. We have some Survivor League going. We have a Pick'ems League going. Now, guys, we want to say one thing. The Pick'em League and the Survivor League will be for just a standard. We'll just anybody who in the community who wants to join for free can join in. We have had, it seems like, a lot of interest in our fantasy football league. Now, we could only do so many. I think we're going to do one, two, or maybe a couple. Sky, we're still trying to figure out.
Depending on the interest, but I won't play in a league over 12 teams. So 12 is the max in each league. So.
Guys, so with that being said, we might only do a couple leagues for the Action Lab. So it's a first come, first serve basis, but we might need to do it based on subscribers. So if you are subscribed to the channel, we're going to probably end up doing that just to, like, from the demand and how many leagues we're running. And as we grow, we'll probably do more, and we'll try to figure that out. But for this first year, if you guys, we're going to open it up. I think the actual league itself exclusively to subscribers, but everything else, all the other 2 contests, everything else we run is to open up to everybody. So that's kind of our first thought process. Keep that in mind as you're moving forward. If you decide to, use your free Twitch Prime sub to the channel, I mean, that's a free way to get into the fantasy football league as well. But we're still navigating the best way to go about this. But it seems like the best way is to have anybody who's subscribed to the channel have first dibs, and then we'll open it up afterwards. So let's say we don't have a lot of demand, and it's like, oh yeah, we only have 8 people interested.
We'll have demand, Chris.
Well, I think we will. We've already had a lot of people.
AKA subscribe if you want in.
Yeah. Boom. So there we go. You're not going to want to miss that coming up. It's all hitting you after this coming Sunday. We're starting to dive into positions. So, if you can't,
Diacola did say Ronda Rousey suspended indefinitely for beating up a ref. How far has Ronda Rousey fallen?
For beating up a ref, and what is she doing now?
I don't know. Like some third-rate fighting league or something. I don't know.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Wait, what is she in?
I have no idea. I made it up. I assume it's like a third-rate fighting league that only fights on like a Tuesday and in front of like 12 people.
So let me get this
Ronda
straight.
Rousey's a disaster.
She went from the UFC being the best draw in the UFC from a women's standpoint to the WWE to a third-rate fighting.
Oh no, it was in WWE. She attacked an official in the WWE. Chris, last time I checked, it's fake. It's not real. What? What? It's not real. Why would you attack a ref unless that was scripted? If it was scripted, obviously this wasn't. If she's being suspended, or maybe that's the play. Like it was scripted, but then like she needs time off. A lot of time the WWE does do that. Somebody gets injured or does something crazy and gets suspended because of they need time off or they ask for time off. But like it doesn't sound like that. Like what? What are you doing, Rhonda?
Breaking news, I guess. That's the weirdest thing. Anyways, all right. Well, there you go.
And fine. Like, listen. I get being upset at an official or a ref. Even getting in a physical altercation, I'll be like, I wouldn't do it, but okay. It's a fake ref, Chris, in a fake sport.
Come on, man. What are we doing here?
I mean, that is... Speaking of demons, Chris.
I thought I had it bad. I did. I thought I had it bad. It could be a lot worse. So there you go. Okay. Well, there we have it. Attacking WWE is like suddenly Tom Hanks attacked Tim Allen. She's a train wreck, says Diacola.
Can't have Woody attacking Buzz, you know? Although that's the former Buzz, right? Because in the new movie, he's not Buzz anymore. Tim Allen.
Yeah, I guess not.
Marie, drugs are bad. Okay. Drugs are bad. Okay.
I want in. I joined the Discord. Just need to know how to get in a league. We will. Well, so there's going to be
$1 million.
Yeah, and there's going to be a contests little tab that you'll be able to. We'll post all of our leagues there, so don't worry about that, JK. You'll be able to find all of it. But let's dive into the Arizona Cardinals too. The division preview for the NFC West.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to talk about here. And this NFC West contains the world champion, defending champion, Los Angeles Rams. So with that being said, let's talk about the odds and the division chances for these teams in the NFC West, first and foremost, and let you know who is favored. And that is, of course, the defending champion Rams. They are plus 125. Next in line is the San Francisco 49ers, plus 200. Third favorites to win this division are the Arizona Cardinals. And last but not least, you have Drew Lock's Seattle Seahawks bringing in the caboose on this train. So this is a nice division. Obviously this is a competitive division. San Francisco's dealing with some quarterback, advancement when it comes to Trey Lance moving up. They've moving on from Jimmy G. Arizona's dealing with a guy that doesn't know how to do homework. You have the Seattle Seahawks who have a couple guys that they just what are they doing? And then you got the Los Angeles Rams who they're well coached. They have a pretty good quarterback and they have a nice team of veterans on that. And one of the best defensive players in the world in the league. So there you go. So that's why. And what's interesting to me looking at this snapshot of like the division odds is San Francisco's not far behind the Rams in these stands. And I mean the top three, Rams, Niners, and Cardinals are all pretty close in this mix. Plus 125, plus 200, plus 300. So they're saying that it might be a little bit of a race between these teams as they go down the course of the season. But Scotty, just initially, your thoughts on the odds?
I think the odds make sense. Listen, like the 49ers are clearly the toughest team to project in this division, just based off of we don't know how it's going to look with Trey Lance for a whole season. Now he did play in a couple games last year when Jimmy was hurt, and it wasn't great. Things I've heard out of San Francisco camp is listen, he's very inconsistent. There's going to be a lot of highs and a lot of lows with that team. So fortunately, he's joining a roster that's clearly very talented. LA San Fran was the NFC Championship game last year. So we have the two representatives in the NFC Championship game and this division. So clearly he's joining a talented roster, but tough to project. But those odds, to me,
Seem normal.
Makes sense. I don't know that I have like I would probably bet. I mean, if I'm betting any of them, I'm betting San Fran because they're boom or bust. But if they boom, they're going to be the best team in this. Like if Trey Lance is able to piece it together where he's a little more consistent, they could easily win this division. I think the Cardinals is a sucker bet. I don't think the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals might as well. Why don't we just pencil them in for like 10-7 and a first round exit right now? Because that's what's happening.
Roger.
Yeah, I think, with this doesn't surprise me. You asked me the other day, who's your dark horse in the NFC? And I told you the San Francisco 49ers could be that dark horse. Because, I mean, there's still not a lot of people are giving them credit when it comes to their quarterback situation of Trey Lance moving up and stepping into a big role with this team for a full season. So we'll see how that looks. But you know what? I want to kick things off. You mentioned the Arizona Cardinals. We had some news with the Arizona Cardinals. Marquise Brown was charged with criminal speeding today. So there was that. And they're coming into this off season with, or this new season with a lot of questions with Kyler Murray and how he prepares for games. We talked a lot about that on our last show. So let's start there. Start there with the Arizona Cardinals and what we think that they could be here. Because honestly, the Arizona Cardinals, I don't know if I have a lot of high hopes for them in this division. And, I've seen some projections as high as 11-6. I'll take the under on that. I'll take the under on the 11-6. But Cliff Kingsbury, I feel like a lot of people either like him or you don't. But key free agents bringing in Marquise Brown, who just got in trouble, right? You lost Christian Kirk, which you don't want to pay him what, he was being paid elsewhere. And Chase Edmonds ended up leaving to the Miami Dolphins. So
Chandler Jones.
Gone. Yep. Chandler Jones is gone. So you have a lot of different exits that I feel like were semi-relevant pieces on those on the roster last year that did very well in the regular season, just didn't do well in the playoffs, obviously. Key additions, they got tight end Trey McBride when it came to the draft. So, they can see if they can fit him into the mix there. But, Kyler Murray, I think, is the biggest question here for me. And I want to know if he's able to take that next step. He's a very mobile quarterback. He has an injury history. He has a nice little clause in his contract that was taken out about him studying, but he doesn't need to study, right? He's fine. He's playing his games on the side. He's doing his thing.
Already tested positive. He's clearly studying.
Arizona, when it comes to the wide receivers, they'll have DeAndre Hopkins. So I think they could do make some okay, moves in this division when it comes to staying towards the upper echelon. But Zach Ertz as a tight end, James Conner running back, old man AJ Green just chilling. He's hanging out. Like, I feel like this roster is aging. JJ Watt's getting older on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't know. Budda Baker on the back end, he's okay. He's fine. I don't know where it. I don't see a lot of hype for me, but real quick in the chat. And before I get your thoughts here, I want to jump into this. Let's see. Worried about my cards. The D-Hop suspension, the Kyler stuff. Kyler gets COVID. Now the Hollywood Brown arrest today. Not good. Of course, JK. There's a lot of distractions right now. And that's what I worry about with a team like this. Marie in the chat. My take here. Look out for Seattle. Drew seems to be spending those...
Spreading, probably.
Yeah, spreading those wings, you're in trouble if Lance isn't on. Cards are third. So Marie she still loves her Drew Lock, which, hey, Marie, I give you props for sticking with Drew. I give you a lot of love for sticking with Drew. Let's just say, personally, I'm fine with him being in Seattle and not here. What's up, G Girl? How we doing? Let me give a shout out to G Girl. Guys, go follow G Girl if you are not already. She crushes content when it comes to all sports, football, basketball, you name it. She is incredible. She streams all the time during the week. Make sure you go check out her channel. Hit the link in the chat and give her some love. Give her a follow. You won't regret it. So she knows her shit for sure. We have a lot of women that represent an Action Lab, and I mean,
I've found them in general. No, I don't want to alienate the men, but they seem to be a lot smarter than men, which we knew. We knew. As men, we know that we're just our whole life is spent trying to fool women into thinking we're not the dumbest people around.
It's
right.
It's true.
Right. When in reality, we are, Chris. We're very much that.
We go down that route.
Yeah. Speaking of dumb people. Oh, you're not finished. Go ahead.
No. That was where I was going to leave it. I want to get your thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals here and where you see them. Well, you've kind of already talked about it a little bit. But any other thoughts?
I've addressed the Cardinals quite a bit.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't see it. I question Kyler. I worry about his motives now. He's got the contract. We'll see what happens there. D-Hop suspended for 6 weeks. We saw when he got hurt at the end of last year what that did to that offense. It was a disaster. So they're in trouble the first 6 weeks. Hollywood Brown gets arrested for speeding over 85 today. I'm not that concerned about that. Like that over 85. Like what was the speed limit? I don't know. He was speeding, so great, but at the same time, not that. There's a lot worse.
Hopefully, it wasn't in a school zone. If otherwise,
yeah, don't go 85 in a school zone. It's like a third something like a level 3 misdemeanor, and I'm like, what? Like. That even seems aggressive. Anyway, he was like booked, and I'm like, for speeding? I didn't even know you could be booked for speeding, Chris. I didn't know that was a thing. Anyway, I'm worried about his hands and the fact that he drops a lot of passes, but not so much the fact that he was speeding on the highway today. They just don't have like a ton of playmakers on defense for me. The defense is like solid, not spectacular. They just feel like a 10-7, 9-8 team. Like that's not going anywhere promising, but a lot of people will say, and the sayings out there, the worst thing you can be in the NFL is mediocre, and that's where I feel like Arizona is right now.
Yeah, they're going to be middle of the road for me, and even if they have a great regular season, I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs. I'm with you. So next up, Seattle. Let's talk about Seattle a little bit. Marie mentioned Seattle about Drew Lock, acquired from the Denver Broncos here. And last year their record was 7-10. I think that's going to take a dip. I forgot to take a look at the win totals for Arizona, by the way. Let me go real quick. Arizona win total over under 8.5. Same -110 for the under 8.5. So just. That's low for a team that went 11-6 last year. They get put at 8.5 this year. So Vegas isn't high on them either. Yeah, and Seattle, speaking of Vegas not being high on them, is set at 5.5 games. And the over 5.5 is the favorite to win this one, -135, over 5.5 games. I think they have a chance to get there, but I am not excited to bet on anything Seattle's got going on. Watching Seattle and Drew Lock or Geno Smith does not excite me as much as one might think. Marie even has the under at 5.5. That would be, you'd be getting some value there. I think they're +110 if they end up. But currently, ESPN's depth chart has Geno Smith as the starter. I don't think that's it'll be Drew Lock. But the fact that it's a quarterback battle, again, we saw this in Denver. I don't love that there's a quarterback battle that's still being worked out with a new guy in Drew Lock that you guys believe is going to be the guy, and you still haven't had like the stamp of approval from the Seattle coaching staff that he is the guy over a guy like Geno Smith. It's the same Teddy Bridgewater stamp of approval that we know and love in Denver from last year, right? It's like, if you can't beat Geno Smith or if you can't beat Teddy Bridgewater and it's like close, that's a problem for your starting quarterback. Let's just put it out there. Let's say it like it is. Other key agent departures, you lost Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. That came over in the trade with Drew Lock. You lost Gerald Everett, tight end. He went to the Chargers. They drafted Kenneth Walker III in round 2 of the draft. So I think the biggest thing to focus on here is the fact that you got to figure out who's playing quarterback for you. I think, Pete Carroll, I don't know how long he has. I think his clock is ticking in Seattle. I don't know how long he's going to get there. You did sign DK Metcalf. There's a lot of people in NBA and the NFL that are giving a lot of love to their teams and trying to stay put. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, wide receiver core, they're in good shape, right? They've been, subject to trade rumors in recent months as well. So, but they seem to be staying put for the most part. Noah Fant, I think, is going to be a nice piece for them. There's some decent offensive pieces here in Seattle. So I think that whoever plays quarterback, they'll be able to get a few wins under their belt. But obviously Vegas and I don't have high hopes for the Seattle Seahawks in this division. It's a tough division.
It is. I think it's still the best division, despite the Seattle probably dropping off a little bit. It's still the best division in the NFC, top to bottom, in my mind. Yeah, I mean, I think we should have a strict policy on this show that we don't talk about Drew. No.
We have a lot of singing on this show, by the way.
Yeah. Well, the people wanted it, Chris.
They wanted
all right?
singing.
Yeah, they're not going to be great at quarterback. They're going to struggle there, but I still think Pete Carroll can win games. Like, I don't think people like him and how he does it, and I get that he's old school and things like that, but he can still win some games. So I would lean over. I think they can get to 6 wins, but is it an exciting team? No. I mean, you got DK and Tyler on the outside, which, again, is a nice 1-2 combo. Nothing to hate there. On the defensive side of the ball, you lost Bobby Wagner. You let him go. And even bigger than that, you lost Carlos Dunlap. Football Wife will tell you that's the greatest defensive pass rusher in the history of the game. I don't know who he's playing for this next season, Chris, but I think he's going to be damn good wherever he went.
He'd be damn good.
Roger.
But who they did add, Chris? Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, a lot of nice pieces on offense and defense there. I don't know where those guys came from either.
No idea.
Listen, they're the worst team in this division. I don't think that's hard to project. They're rebuilding a little bit, which is ironic when they have the oldest coach in the league. That's kind of a weird thing to do, but we'll see. I think they're secretly hoping that Drew Lock finally figures it out, and they find a diamond in the rough somehow. So they're gonna give Drew Lock the start, and they're gonna give him a season. And if he doesn't work out, they'll find a quarterback in the draft because they'll probably be picking towards the top.
Yep. Pretty cut and dry there. All right, next up, I'll
be right back, Chris.
Okay, cool. Let's dive into the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers. By the way, spam code YELLOW in the chat for Scotty right now. It's the tradition we have whenever one of us has to go take care of business. There you go. I'll get it started. Code YELLOW in the chat. But this division is going to be one of the better divisions. It's the better division in the NFC. We're going to dive into the AFC. Don't go anywhere here soon. AFC West, I have a feeling. Don't tell Scotty, but it's going to get a little bit aggressive. Scotty always gets defensive about his Chiefs and the Broncos. So we might have some fireworks coming up. We'll have some fun with it, but just hang with us. And we also have a tribute to, we have a nice little ending with VIN SCULLY at the end, and we also have coming in hot. So make sure you guys stick around for the end of the show. It's worth it, and it'll get you through the rest of your week, and you'll feel heart-warmed and just fuzzy inside. I honestly, when I was putting the show together, I wanted to include this, and it made me feel like the world is in a good place. So even given all the crazy things happening in the world, but stick with us. You don't want to miss the end of the show. Dicola, don't forget to mute him. He got a little upset last time I muted him. So I'm gonna let him go. He's gonna do his rants. It's gonna happen. Do you like how we talk about Scotty when he's not here? It's great. But we're going to dive into the San Francisco 49ers next. Now, San Francisco 49ers, their over-under total is set for Let me see it. 9.5. And that's minus 145. So Vegas is saying that they're most likely going to win at least 10 games in this division. So 10 games is a pretty decent amount for a San Francisco team going into a season with Trey Lance. Obviously, Trey Lance, they've moved on from Jimmy G. Jimmy G, say what you will about Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, he won games, right? He's not sexy. Well, he is. He is sexy. But his now I'm getting myself into trouble. I was talking about Jimmy G. They moved on from Jimmy G. You know, he's not sexy from a quarterback. And then I was like, well, he is sexy from a quarterback standpoint.
I mean, he is Jimmy GQ.
He's Jimmy GQ. So I was like, he wins games, but they want to move on. I mean, that's the thing. Jimmy G, I don't know. That might be a mistake depending on.
He took him to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship. The last 2 years he was healthy.
I mean, he wins. I mean, in a system, right? No, over under 9.5 for their win total, and it's minus 145 for the over. So Vegas likes them to win at least 10 games, double digits. So it's just an interesting number, knowing they're going into a season with Trey Lance and knowing they don't know what they're getting there. But Elijah Mitchell, they signed Deebo Samuel, obviously. Brandon Ayuk is there in the second wide receiver spot. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And, you know, they just have a nice offensive roster that can, you know, do a lot of things under Kyle Shanahan, getting things done in San Francisco, offensive mind. He's made it to that point where he's established himself to get far into a playoff run. He just needs to get over the hump. He just needs that guy to do it, to get those big wins, you know, when it, you know, gets deep into the playoffs. But overall, I mean, this team, I haven't projected to finish second in this division. Scotty, where do you have them?
Second seems like a safe bet.
True.
I want to push the envelope and say first, and it wouldn't shock me if they finished first, but without knowing exactly what Trey Lance is going to do, it's hard to put him there.
Yeah.
Chairman.
Yep.
I believe Jimmy G has the most Super Bowl rings of any active QB other than Brady.
Roger.
That's true. And I and Jimmy played an equal role in those Super Bowls. So congrats to him. But yeah, that is technically true. I also hear that everyone thinks Jimmy G cost the Niners a Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and that's absolutely absurd.
Heck, I'll take him over Danny Dimes, says G Girl.
Jimmy? I think Jimmy's a serviceable guy. He's just not like uber excited. Like here's the bottom line with the Niners this year. Trey Lance. So here, the Niners had no choice. The Niners had to do this. Whether they think they're better off with Trey Lance or Jimmy, they had to do this because they moved so much capital last year in the draft. And they moved up twice. They made two separate trades to get to the number 3 pick. Chris.
They put a lot.
They gave up a ton of capital to take Trey Lance. You can't draft a quarterback after trading up twice at the number 3 overall pick and then sit him for 2 years. You can't do it. Like, you'd be roasted. You'd be crucified up there by the fans and whatnot. So more than anything, I think that based where they were headed with this decision, they decided we have to move on with him. Unfortunately, Jimmy was hurt, so they couldn't even trade him because teams weren't ready to take the risk when Jimmy had an injured shoulder. So they weren't even able to move Jimmy. So now you have this awkward situation. But maybe, like, I could see a scenario where Jimmy becomes the starter this year. If Trey Lance falls flat on his face and just plays awful the first few weeks, I think you have to give him at least 4 weeks. But after 4 weeks, if Trey Lance is awful and Jimmy's still on the roster, why wouldn't you go back to him?
Totally. I'm with you. I think like you're going to have a weird situation. That's the one caveat of the San Francisco 49ers that I think could be a distraction at some point. If the 49ers have a slow start, all of a sudden you have these rumors swirling, and those become distractions. Those are real things that happen to NFL teams that, you know, take away from what you're trying to do in the practices week to week, in the off days and like the social media. How Lance is struggling. Are you going to go back to Jimmy? Are you going to
which is why they have to trade him. They need to trade him.
They need to get rid of that distraction 100%. And I think that,
I mean, football-wise, talking about Jimmy G's facial hair, and that's another distraction, Chris. There's so many distractions with Jimmy.
get that good-looking dude out of town. Get him out of here.
Just he's handsome. He's handsome from what I've been told, Chris.
I'm sick of seeing that gorgeous face in town. Get him.
I'm not sure Trey Lance can hold a candle there. I don't know. You guys let me know. You ladies let me know in the chat. Is Trey Lance good looking? I don't know.
The ladies, if I'm taking, all right, here, can I put a poll in the chat? And this is for men too. Guys have crushes, right? Men crushes, right?
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's mostly based off personality. I'm a personality guy, Chris. That's more important. But I feel like every single guy's man crush is like Ryan Reynolds. Every man wants to just marry Ryan Reynolds. If you had to pick a guy to marry, it'd be Ryan Reynolds. I don't even think you're listening to me, Chris. You're too focused.
I love Ryan Reynolds. He's great.
Yeah, everyone loves Ryan Reynolds. That's the problem. Every single man would pick Ryan Reynolds as like their number one man crush. Maybe like a Paul Rudd mixed in. Maybe a Paul Rudd. Those are the two fun guys, you know? Just guys you'd want to hang out with. I don't know. Anyway, we're getting way off track.
Trey Lance is off and running in the chat with he's the prettier guy. All right, here we go. Now the Jimmy G fans are coming through.
Yeah, I like that you called it who is prettier. Who's prettier? I am pretty. Singing again.
Too much singing on the
human jukebox. And Chairman is officially leaving the stream. Sorry, Chairman. The people voted and they want my singing.
This is what happened when you have the ladies here. See, I'm a man of who we have in the chat. We have a lot of ladies. And you know what? I'll vote for Jimmy G. I mean, he's a good looking guy, right? Okay, there we go.
Chairman said, I don't want to marry Ryan Reynolds. I want to be Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Scotty,
me too.
Scotty is everyone's man crush. Looks like a younger Jack Vale.
I don't know who that is, Chris. Who's Jack Vale?
Google Jack Vale. Do
you know who Jack Vale is?
I don't.
Should I know who Jack Vale is?
Let me Google Jack Vale real quick. I'm just curious to see who Jack...
Oh, he's a YouTuber. A younger Jack Vale. He's like 48 years old, Chris.
Bruh.
I was like, oh, they're calling me young. Jack Vale's 48.
What?
Holy hell. Who is this guy? Some of his pictures look like he should be in prison, Chris.
I'll let y'all Google Jack Vale.
Oh my gosh.
I don't see it, Scotty.
I might have to sign off. This might be the end for me.
You didn't even get a chance to talk about your Chiefs. I mean, that's how bad it is.
I gotta go. I was now. JK did it. He knocked me off a stream for the first time ever, based off calling me a younger Jack Vale, who in some pictures, maybe Google's not doing him justice, but he looks like he might be a mass murderer. Like he might kill people for a living.
Bruh. Oh man, people.
Wow.
Well, hey, Trey's getting some votes, but let's get to the Rams here. Get to the LA Rams and talk about that. Scotty, I've never seen you without a hat.
No, I wear a hat without a hat sometimes on the stream. Today is not that day. I'm actually getting a haircut in like maybe tomorrow, Chris. I'm going on the road to get a haircut to Kansas. I'm going to Kansas tomorrow, guys.
Charlie's going out to Kansas. I was gonna say he's coming to your house. I'm coming over for a haircut myself.
No, Chuckles is also going to Kansas, so I'm getting a haircut in a whole different state tomorrow. I'm driving probably 9 hours with 3 children, 5 and under in my car to get a haircut, Chris.
And yet he'll still wear a hat for the next stream. So
no, maybe not. Maybe not. It depends how good Chuckles does, you know?
Let's get to the Rams. Notable just storylines with the Rams. The Rams finished last season 12-5. and with a Super Bowl win to go with it. Obviously, you have Sean McVay, who is one of the better coaches in the league. He's a great offensive mind, running things with, Matt Stafford, Cam Akers, tore his Achilles last July. So obviously, we'll see, what happens with some of those, returns for some of those injuries. But key free agent additions, they added Allen Robinson from the Chicago Bears, a nice stud from Chicago who, did a lot for an organization that didn't do a lot. Then you also have some players that left. Replacing Robert Woods was Allen Robinson. And you also had Sony Michel go to the Dolphins. Odell Beckham is a free agent still. He's lingering out in the ether, out in the stratosphere, and just doing his own thing. They drafted Kyron Williams, round 5. So they didn't really have a lot to go on in the draft, but they gave away all their picks, right, Scotty? They went all in. No draft.
I'm not sure they have a draft pick in the next century, Chris.
It's true.
Didn't they also lose Ndamukong Suh? Am I crazy?
I believe so.
It's not. I'm looking at a website as well that doesn't list it, but I'm almost certain he's not back.
I think he's gone, and I think he's out there just hanging out too.
Did you say Von Miller? By the way, Chris, did you say Von Miller?
And Von Miller left as well. Yep.
That's kind of a big deal.
He is, but he's also aging year by year. Here's the thing. Like, the thing I think about with Von Miller is, like, he left, then he went over there, won a Super Bowl, but, like, they didn't have a high price.
Sue was in Tampa. What am I doing? McDuggets, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's on me.
But
wow.
Von's kind of been bouncing around. He didn't have a lot of takers right off the bat. So I feel like the people are slowly, the money that Von wanted versus the amount of years that he has left, I think is scaring people. Slap Scotty. There you go.
Yeah, I deserve it. And everyone that's saying 3 kids in a car to Kansas and shoot me, and everyone's like, don't do it. Hey, you know what would be nice right now, guys? Is someone saying, hey, have a great trip. Maybe, hey, have a lot of fun. Enjoy your time.
Roger.
It's going to be fine. But instead, you guys are telling me to shoot myself. Or that if you were me, you'd shoot myself. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful, guys. I love my children. Thank you, G Girl. I will have a great trip. Who doesn't have a great trip when they go to Kansas? Going back for a family reunion. It's going to be a shit show. And I'm excited about it.
It's a trap.
Maybe. I don't know.
You'll have a great time, Scotty. I guarantee it. So, Scotty, again, let me just roll down this roster. That includes...
And Ndamukong Suh's on this roster, right?
It includes Cooper Kupp, who was statistically a freak last year. So you got Akers, Kupp, Robinson.
He didn't even get 2,000 yards receiving. Finished at like 1,900. What's he even doing?
Weak. And Van Jefferson is their third wide receiver option, but still have Tyler Higbee. Nice option there. But Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd on the defensive side do a lot. Bobby Wagner was a nice addition from the Seattle Seahawks. We talked about Wagner in the offseason. Jalen Ramsey still in the secondary. So there's a lot to like about what they're bringing back. And so from this standpoint, I still think that they're the favorites. I still think that they will win this division. So from that, that's kind of what my projection is for this Rams team. They should make a nice run again this year. I don't know if I don't have them winning it. Last year I did. This year I don't.
Yeah, they're going to be in the mix in the NFC. They they're the best team on paper in this division. They're the defending champs. Sometimes it's interesting to see, especially a first-time winner of a championship like this, how they come back and play the next season, whether they have that same drive and whatnot. But a talented team nonetheless, with obviously McVay is one of the best coaches in the league. You got Kupp with Stafford and Allen Robinson. I love Allen Robinson as an addition after losing OBJ, although OBJ is still a free agent. So who knows? Once OBJ is healthy, he might sign with LA and be in the mix in the playoffs or somewhere around then. So this team's really good. What are the odds that they win it again? It's like 10 to 15%. Like, it's not a high percentage. That's not me hating on the Rams. It's just like there's other teams that are really, really good. I mean, if they make it against one of the top teams in the AFC, I think the AFC is a little stronger than the NFC. I don't think that's crazy to think. I think certainly they're deeper in the AFC. There's way better quarterback play in the AFC than the NFC. We've talked about that. So, I mean, the NFC is gettable. You look at the Rams. We've talked about, obviously, I mean, we'll see. You know, you got Packers, maybe Vikings get in the mix in the NFC North. NFC South, of course, you have the Bucks. They're probably the only team. The NFC East, I don't know. I mean, the Cowboys, maybe. A lot of people are hyping the Eagles. I'm not on that road. So, like, I mean, the NFC is very gettable. Very, very gettable. It's not deep and it's not that strong. Compared to the AFC, which that's what the Los Angeles
Rams. I think that's where the Los Angeles Rams will thrive. Is the fact that the NFC. I mean, Rams, Packers, Bucks, and then it kind of falls off there to the 49ers are kind of like when it comes to the Vegas odds are like the next echelon there, and I don't think they're. I mean, Trey Lance and the Jimmy G stuff.
I just want so badly the Bucks cannot make the Super Bowl. That's all I care about in the NFC.
That's all you care.
Yeah. Tom Brady cannot make another damn Super Bowl. It can't happen, Chris.
Over under for the wins, Chairman, and welcome back, Clout. Over under for the win total on the Rams is, I believe, 10.5. 10.5. Yep. So let's see, 10.5. It's even odds. So no matter what. Over or under, it's -110. It's split down the middle. I think in the weaker NFC, they get there. I think they can win with that roster. I think that's at least an 11-win roster in the NFC. AFC, I don't know if I'd give it that, but yeah.
The only compliment I've enjoyed tonight is JK. Remember when JK, speaking of the Bucks real quick, sorry, going back to the Bucks, but remember when he called me a younger Tom Brady? You remember that?
I do.
I remember that vividly in the chat. He said, Scotty's like a younger Tom Brady. Certainly didn't say someone else.
Oh, hey, Rachel, what's up?
Oh, Rach, you made it on the show.
Hey, everyone, give a
wifey in the background just peeking in. Someone has to pack for that lovely car ride in the morning. That everyone in the chat, Rach, is very excited about.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Hey, let's give some love to Rachel in the background. Welcome, Rachel, to the stream.
What's up?
So, with that being said, Scotty's getting ready for his trip. He's getting all. Good luck with that, Scotty. We've all seen how officiating almost got LA after the 3-touchdown lead. Did he mean his rookie pick? Did he, Scotty?
I mean, how many people do I have to ban after tonight's show? I'm just kidding. Maybe, but I'll still take a younger Brady than his rookie pick. That puts me at like 12, Chris.
Scotty said he is buying a dog on the trip.
No, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
All right, so there we go. That's what we're looking at for the NFC West. We're going to do all of our predictions. Should we do all of our predictions? I think we're doing all those a week before the NFL season kicks off.
Right around there, yeah.
We'll do, because injuries in training camp, injuries in preseason always take a lot out of it. So we're going to make our predictions for the season, our Super Bowl predictions, all a week before the season kicks off. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. But last but not least, and before we get into this, Scotty, I'll let you chill with the chat for a minute. I'm going to go take a code yellow before we dive into the AFC West. I have to grab another beer myself as well. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into the AFC West. And this is going to cap it off. This is it. And by the way, stick around for Scotty A. Smith's coming in hot. And we have a nice little thing with VIN SCULLY at the very end. So don't go anywhere.
That was the longest exit I've ever seen for a code yellow. Spam code yellow in the chat. I hope Chris had time to make it to the bathroom. I was worried he was going as he was closing all that out. But yes, we obviously have reached the pinnacle of the division previews, covering the best division in football this year, the AFC West. Obviously, Chris being a Broncos fan, me being a Chiefs fan, we got a lot to cover with this one. So hang with us here as we get into the AFC West. I'm hyped for it. I do have it coming in hot to close, and we have a special close. a special someone that's going to close us out that is far more eloquent with their speech than we are. So, and a younger version of me, probably. I've heard him described as a younger version of me quite often, even when he was 87 years old. So, with that, I'll wait for Chris so I don't dive in too much here, but G-Girl in the chat, I'm going to take a stab at the division. Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. So, to me, that's just a list of the teams. That's not the order, right, G-Girl? You're not saying that's the order. Or did you just have a typo at the front? Maybe you went alphabetical with the C's and you just forgot that the Chiefs should be in front of the Chargers. I don't know for sure.
Don't clown on my graphics. What are we?
We weren't clowning on your graphics. No one even mentioned your graphics, Chris. Hey, by the way, you still owe me a Pacifico.
I do owe you a Pacifico. Until things get aggressive and bones are broken.
Just, gently open the door when you come back in.
If you missed that story, we're not telling it again.
We'll cover that some other time.
We'll cover it another time. But we are getting into the most competitive division in the NFL this season. And this could possibly be the best division in NFL history, Scotty. I mean, at what point do you remember in your years, you watch a lot of football, an arms race like the AFC West? And I mean, like the AFC in general, but the AFC West specifically, this is unprecedented. Let me dive into the numbers here when it comes to the conference division winners, and then we'll go to the win totals as we go through. But division winners for the AFC West: Chiefs are favored plus 155, Chargers plus 240, Broncos plus 260, right on, pretty much dead even with the Chargers, and then there's a little bit of a gap with the Raiders coming in last plus 700. So a lot of people loving the Chargers and Broncos and the Chiefs, obviously, in this division. But the Raiders have made a lot of new additions to their defense, to where I feel like the Raiders fans have a lot of reasons to get excited as well, right? They got some pass rushers, but they have some other. Let's start there. You want to start with the Raiders on this one, Scotty?
Sure. Let's
start with the Raiders, and led by Derek Carr, obviously a guy he's a Raider to the end. He's going to retire as a Raider because that's what he wants. But Josh McDaniels is the biggest change coming into this one, right? Succeeding John Gruden in Las Vegas. They had the interim coach when John Gruden left. Then Josh McDaniels gets brought on. McDaniels brought wide receivers coach Mick Lombardi, not Mike Lombardi, with him as an offensive coordinator. So, there's a lot of New England influences when it comes to the Los Angeles Raiders here. Key free agent departures for the Raiders.
Did you just real quick, I did not know they were in Los Angeles.
Or Las Vegas. I'm sorry. Las Vegas.
Sorry. Are you sure? Maybe they moved to LA. Everyone's doing it. It's the cool thing to do.
It's Las Vegas. There's Los Angeles, Las Vegas, all the same. No, it's not.
Is it though?
No, it's not. Key free agent departures for the Vegas Raiders: Zay Jones, Deshaun Jackson, old man Deshaun, and Brian Edwards. That's what happens when we get.
Sound it out, Chris. Sound it out. Let me know.
This is our last division preview, right?
I have a lot of work reading to children, so I can read to you too if you need it.
So we got Derek Carr obviously running things. Kenyon Drake, $11 million to Kenyon Drake coming in. Josh Jacobs, running back style. I feel like they're going to be able to have a nice little running game. They always typically have a nice little running game that they'll be able to get going. But Hunter Renfrow, and the biggest addition on the offense is Devontae Adams. They were able to pull him from Green Bay and give Derek Carr a weapon that he can work with. Dynamic downfield. So dynamic tight end. Darren Waller is another piece that they'll be able to utilize as a number one tight end. So overall, there's some nice pieces to keep in mind when you're looking at this Las Vegas Raiders team, and that's not even including some of the additions that they made on defense. So, I mean, Chandler Jones coming from the Arizona Cardinals, Max Crosby coming off the edge. I think if you're looking at a big advantage in this Las Vegas team, it's going to be that pass rush. I think they'll be able to get a nice little push on that edge to get pressure on a Mahomes, on a Herbert, on a Wilson. Like, though, that's their goal, is to try to get those quarterbacks uncomfortable. So, with that being said, all they need to do, I think the weakness here is the secondary. I think the secondary is where they can be susceptible in a quarterback division. Might have some trouble, but Scotty, they got the Raiders finishing last in this division. Do you concur?
Sorry, for a second I lost focus because we had our first ever That's What She Said in the chat, and it took like a year and 8 months to get there, but we did it. Thanks, Marie. I had a quick giggle at that one. Got a That's What She Said in there. You guys can read it for yourselves. Do I concur with the Raiders finishing fourth? I do not. Chris.
Okay. Well, that only means
you have any more questions, or is that it?
That's all I need to know, because I already know who you got finishing fourth at this point.
Listen, I think the Raiders. People forget the Raiders made the playoffs last year. They finished second in this division. They made the playoffs. They went on the road against the Bengals and lost by a touchdown where they got within 10 yards of tying the game at the end of the game. They were inside the 10, I believe, or right around the 10-yard line of the Bengals. Couldn't get it in. Leaving the door open in the chat on that one. For maybe a second, That's What She Said. Just if you guys want, no big deal. Totally up to you. And then you add, I don't know, the best wide receiver in football in Devontae Adams to go along with Chandler Jones off the edge to pair with Max Crosby. I actually like the trade for Rock Ya-Sin. I've always liked Rock Ya-Sin, who's drafted at the Colts. I wanted the Chiefs to take him a few years ago when he was in the draft. A nice corner who had some struggles in Indy at times, but I like him a lot. This team, I think, is just like hated beyond belief. And I understand they haven't done anything. Like Derek Carr, let's pump the brakes on him being a Hall of Fame quarterback until he maybe wins a playoff game. He's been in the league for like 9 seasons, never won a playoff game. Actually, last year was the first one he's played in, because the other time they made the playoffs, he got hurt right before they were in the playoffs, so he didn't even play in that one. So last year was his first ever playoff appearance. You can blame the defense some. I like Derek Carr. We ranked him, I believe, like 12th in our QB rankings, which I think is pretty accurate for where Derek Carr is. If he has time to throw with Devontae Adams and Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, they're gonna move the sticks. Decent offensive line. I think offensively they're good. I worry about the back end still with their secondary, and there are 3 teams like Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders on defense totally ignored the fact that you have to have a linebacking core. All 3 linebacking cores are really poor, but they're pretty strong in everywhere else on defense with a lot of those 3 teams. Maybe not the Raiders as much. But I think they finished third. I think they, who knows? The division is so hard. And when I say third, like, I think all these teams win. And granted, they play each other twice each, but I think each of these teams wins certainly 7 games, and I think probably 8. I think each of these teams wins at least 8 games. You're looking at last place in this division being 7-10, 8-9. So I'm not dogging on any team, but I think the Raiders finish third. That's my call.
You could realistically have 3 playoff teams all go like from this division itself. You could.
I think they're good enough, but the problem is they have to play each other. Where
true,
some of these teams that maybe aren't as good, that have a softer schedule, might get in above them just because of the difficulty of the schedule with the AFC West. Like the Chiefs have the hardest schedule in football, no doubt. And if you don't believe me, look up their schedule. They have like 3 easy games, and the rest are not. Difficult difficult games.
Yeah, they're challenging. 100%. Let's see. Division with bad linebackers and good tight ends. Great tight ends, says Cuban. It's like the NL West. Great top to bottom. Yep. You're right on that, Cuban.
Thanks, Cuban.
just give us that love. So yeah, I still think that the Raiders, again, they're going to be competitive in a lot of games. I mean, the worst team in this division is still better than most teams, even in like the other divisions of the AFC and then most of the NFC. Like, they would be top one or two teams in every other division, mostly in like some of these other divisions. So this is so hard to like break this down. That's why this is going to be must-see TV each and every single week when we're getting into the NFL season, and we're going to be here for it each and every single time. Raiders will suffer this season. You will see, says Marie.
Marie does not like the Raiders. I've gathered through the chat. Not a Raiders fan.
Look at Scotty talking about them DBs again. Must sound familiar.
Is he calling me a DB? Is that what that is? Is that what that was?
I think that's where he's going with that.
Wow.
So
McDubbit. I said McDubbits.
I think that the Raiders, I have them at the bottom of this division. We'll talk about that at the end, but maybe we could recap this whole thing. But let's dive into the Chargers.
Oh, real quick, the most recent comment, Aegis. I don't know how to say it. Aegis.
Yeah.
Aegis. I'll hold off on the bad linebacker until we see how Nick Bolton. No. I said 3 of the 4 teams in this division have bad linebacker play. I wasn't talking about the Chiefs.
Let's just say the Broncos. The
Chiefs have good
Broncos
linebacker play.
need to be on the upswing when it comes to,
The Broncos haven't had good linebackers in like a century.
We haven't had good linebackers since
Go back to like
Al Wilson. Al Wilson.
No, you've had a DJ. What's his name?
DJ Williams. DJ Williams was post Al Wilson. He was good, but he didn't have a lot of help. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of help either.
Then you got to go back to like Bill Romanowski spitting on people.
Old Bill was his own beast, right? Yeah. Oh, Bill. So let's talk about the Chargers next. The most hyped team on the planet. The San Diego or Los Angeles.
San Diego. So, but it's ironic that you called the Raiders the Los Angeles Raiders, but the team that actually resides in Los Angeles, you call San Diego.
Totally.
You're just thinking about TwitchCon, Chris.
I am. I have TwitchCon in my head, the beach, and hanging out with all the lab rats on the beach. That's all I care about right now. Los Angeles Chargers over/under set at 9.5, and that's -150. So Vegas is very confident that they will get to at least 10 wins this season. Now they are run by Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is one of the best young talents in this entire NFL. He's on his way to having a career in this league. So, they have a nice solid roster here. Obviously, Austin Eckler's coming back in the backfield. Has a little bit of an injury back and forth with like staying healthy. Keenan Allen, one of the best receivers. I mean, Nick Wright has him as his 14th, moved up to 12th after his little ribbing of Russell Wilson in social media this past week. So Keenan Allen, Mike Williams bring in the top of the end of the wide receiver core, but not a lot after that. So there's a little bit of a depth issue when it comes to those guys staying healthy. As long as they stay healthy, they'll be fine. Joshua Palmer.
I like Palmer.
I like Palmer. Palmer's coming in as the third wide receiver. So, but outside of that, like I don't know if I recognize any other names on that wide receiver list. So I worry about them there, especially if they have any injuries. Mike Williams, he's not the young chicken anymore. We'll see. Gerald Everett is their tight end. And then defensively, Joey Bosa is a monster. So Joey Bosa will be Khalil Mack, who was brought in. Can you imagine Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the other side of this line? Like, oof. That's pretty damn
nice one too.
That's a pretty damn good lineup
if both of them stay healthy, that's
Mack,
filthy 1-2.
Khalil Mack, that could cause issues for any quarterback in our division. Honestly, like that one, you don't. I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if you're Wilson. I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson. You could run around. Those two will cause problems for people if they stay healthy and if they're effective. Now, Khalil Mack has kind of lost some time in Chicago. He kind of wasted some years in Chicago. So whether or not he's going to come back and, still be able to be as consistent, but with Joey Bosa taking a lot of that off the one edge, I think this is a big, big strength for the the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm gonna keep doing it. And I think that's crazy to think about when it comes to game planning for this team. But they are projected in a lot. I mean, Mr. King with the NFL had these guys ranked. What did I have them at? What did they have them at? Number 3?
I don't know, like 3 or something. Getting a little aggressive. Thank you for the raid, Fireball.
Hope you had a great stream. Welcome in. H-Town, welcome in as well.
If I had some Fireball, I'd shoot some for you in honor of that, but I do not.
Hope you had a great stream, Fireball. Hope you had a great stream. Hope everything went well for you. Go give Fireball some love over there. If you haven't already, give him a follow. He is great. And I checked a little bit of your VOD the other day, Fireball. Love it, man. Keep up the streaming. It's fun to check out other streamers in the space for sure. So so the notable free agent additions, again, Gerald Everett from the Seattle Seahawks. They lost Justin Jackson, running back, and they lost Jared Cook, but obviously tight end on that one.
They got a better Jackson.
They got a better one. Yep. And a key addition from the draft, Isaiah Spiller, he's fine. He's not going to blow up. You have Austin Eckler, right? Austin Eckler, one of the best all-around backs in football. He finished 2021 with 1,500 total yards, 20 touchdowns. He has a high running back one prediction. When we get into fantasy, we'll talk a lot about Austin Eckler. But I think top to bottom, Keenan Allen, 106 and 138 and 6. I feel like there's a lot to like about what Keenan Allen's continue to do, but I just think the depth is the biggest issue here.
Marie asked a good question. Did you forget about the poll we had before, Chris? I don't even know the results. Who is prettier? Who's prettier, Chris?
Oh, I think it finished out with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G was prettier than Trey Lance?
Jimmy G.
All right, well, start a new one. Me or as a younger version of whoever the hell that psychopath was. No, I'm just kidding. What else do we got going on? What's up, H-Town? Welcome back from your softball game. Hope you hit some bombs tonight. G-Girl, Keenan, Micah Williams, underrated. I mean, he got paid like $20 million, which now is kind of light for a wide receiver, apparently. But he got paid this offseason. And that 1-2 is, I mean, I definitely think the Chargers 1-2 with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen is underrated. That's a really good 1-2 to go with Herbert. And I mean, Rashawn Slater was an amazing pick at left tackle last year in the first round to go with Austin Eckler. It's a really good offense. They add Khalil Mack in a trade. They get J.C. Jackson, the top corner in the free agent market from New England this offseason. It feels like there are 3 teams going all in a little bit, trying everything they can to not allow the Chiefs to win the division for the 37th year in a row. Is it? Someone else check that, but I feel like it's 36. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Bruh.
Maybe not, but it's close. So I props to these teams to move everything, push the chips into the middle. They're doing everything they can to be great. And listen, it's just so hard. You see the Chargers on paper, you're like, I get why people are excited about them, but you and I, Chris, it's so hard because we hear it every year with the Chargers. So it's so hard. Like, ironically, the guy I was golfing with today who is an Oregon fan, so he's a Herbert fan. So he's like, "What do you think about the Chargers?" And I'm like, "Well, they just get hyped up every offseason." He's like, he thought I was joking, and I'm like, "I'm not joking. They literally get hyped up every offseason." He's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh, it's ridiculous. The Chargers get ridiculously hyped up." Let's keep in mind this team choked. This team was better than the Raiders in my mind last year, and choked against the Raiders in that week, I guess 18 game on Sunday night, epic game, but they should have beat the Raiders, and they lost other games. They lost to the Texans when they had no business losing to them. So the Chargers, you just can't trust them week to week. And until I see them be a consistent product on the field and win games that they're supposed to win, and also Brandon Staley, I like Brandon Staley is super aggressive, right? He will go for it on fourth down, left and right. But at times he kind of lost his damn mind last year. Like he went for it like he was playing Madden, and it did not matter. Like, he was in straight Madden mode at time, and I'm like, chill a little bit, dude. Chill. Like, I like aggressive, but he took it to like a whole nother level that we've never even remotely seen in the NFL. It was his first year coaching. Maybe he dials it back this year. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know, but he was interesting. So that's another factor. He can win you games with his aggressiveness, like they did. He won against the Chiefs in Arrowhead because of their aggressive nature, and he went for it on fourth down, and they picked up like every one of them on like fourth and long even. And then he did the same thing when they played in LA, not San Diego, Chris, in LA, Chiefs Chargers, and they lost that game. He lost that game for the Chargers because of his aggressive nature. So it wins games, it loses games. I think if he can dial it back a little bit, remain aggressive, but not psychotic, I think that equals a lot of wins. And I think the Chargers are a force. I think they finished second in this division, and I think the second best quarterback, second best roster, even top to bottom, maybe even best roster in this. A lot of people would rank this as the best roster in this division. So they're going to be very good. Staley scares me a little bit with his coaching, but I got them finishing second, making the playoffs, and we'll see what they do from there.
There you go. Chargers. Yeah, I'm with you with the fact that I want to see them. They're a playoff team. I think they're a playoff team. I think there's going to be a 2 or 3 max playoff teams, 3 at the max, coming out of this division. There's
4 would be a record, Chris. There's never been 4 teams from a division that made the playoffs.
Let's make a record this year. Let's do it.
But how do all these other teams make the playoffs if they go 0-2 against the Chiefs?
Well, that's great that you say that, because I think the Broncos are going to do some work against you guys this year. We're gonna have some fun with you guys this year, because you know what? We're ready to ride. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Did you see? By the way, Keenan Allen making fun of that in camp this week?
That's what I was mentioning earlier when I was like,
I didn't. Yeah.
I mentioned that when we first brought up the Chargers. I was like,
boat fam, let's ride.
Let's ride. If you got college kids doing it all across the country, hey, you know what? Let's ride. It's happening. And let's talk about the Broncos. Let's talk about my boys here. So the Broncos, obviously, bad news this past week. Bad news. There wasn't some great notes coming out of Broncos country. But Broncos fan, Marie, Diacola, all of you guys, hey, we're going to be representing Broncos country this year. It's going to be fantastic. We got a quarterback this year. STG, hello. What's up, STG? Welcome in. Hey, they need to show me that they can stop choking first for the Chargers. True.
Agreed. But you only choke until you don't.
That's true. Let's see. Scotty believing in the Chargers. Oh, yeah. Fireball. Before I go, I just want to say that I have a channel where I store past VODs. I upload once a week. If you have a chance to check it out. Okay, yeah. Go check out Fireball with VODs. There you go.
It's fire, Chris.
It's fire. Let's see. And Broncos country spam. All right. So Broncos, we're busy this offseason. They brought in Nathaniel Hackett. They have a new coach. Big deal, right? They brought in a new owner, right? We have Walton. Oh, by the way, did you see that we got a couple other big time owners?
Well, you must have been thrilled. There was a Formula One.
owner. Yeah.
By the way, I looked up. I thought it was fake, but I'm pretty sure it's real. Now I'm afraid to say it now. I should probably look it up. Like some small portion, like small stake dolphin owners. It can't be real because I saw like it was literally like it can't be real. No, before I say anything, I'm gonna look it up.
We have a weird mix of ownership group. We have Condoleezza Rice. We have Lewis.
It is real. It is real.
Lewis Hamilton. We have the richest owner in the league. There's a lot of off-season stuff happening when it comes to the front office. G Girl's all about Javonte Williams. Aegis is Hamilton. Yeah, Sir Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. We got a lot of fun people in the ownership group now.
The Dolphins have partial owners. Mark Anthony. Okay. Not the headliner. Gloria Estefan.
What?
Serena Williams.
Okay.
Venus Williams.
Okay.
My favorite, Fergie.
Fergie.
Fergie has ownership stake in the Miami Dolphins. Keep in mind, Stephen Ross can't be involved for a little bit. I want to see Fergie in charge. Can we get Fergie in charge of the Dolphins for a little bit? Can we? I don't know, a GoFundMe, a something. I don't know what we need to do, but I think the world needs to see Fergie in charge of the Dolphins.
I mean, they've had so much success with all these celebrities, right?
I mean, speaking of women in power, I think Football Wife was like, can we get something like a cheers for all the ladies in the chat, which they are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Cheers to the ladies. I'll drink to that.
But Fergie, Mark Anthony.
Well, I knew Mark Anthony and wasn't J-Lo in there, and then they divorced, and then she went our way. Yeah, we're off subject here.
Are we though? we might have our largest viewership ever because people are like, let's talk about Fergie running the Dolphins.
So, yes. Yeah, we have an interesting ownership group, but we were able to get out of Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater. Unfortunately, we lost Noah Fant, tight end here, which I thought was a nice piece. He goes. We got a nice little tight end to fill in the back end with what's his name, Big O in the tight end core. So
I'm not gonna try and say that name, Chris.
Well, that's why I said Big O. That's why I was like, there's no shot I'm gonna pronounce that correctly. Albert. Oh no, I'm not even gonna try. Alberto. We're just leave it at that. And so Russell Wilson is the biggest addition here. And I think that the biggest thing that I see, especially in Denver, especially across the country, is a lot of people don't love to give Russell Wilson because he's a nerd. He's like a awkward guy. He's just let's ride. He's a short guy. He's a weird, but here's the thing. I think this offseason, he's done more than any quarterback we've had since Peyton Manning when it comes to actually putting in the work in the offseason. And
you mean eating?
He's not fat. Get out of here.
Did you see the photo? Even G-Girl's like, he got beefy. The photo was from like a week ago, Chris.
And we made a big deal about Leonard Fournette, and he'll be fine, and they'll all be fine.
But you're talking about how much work he's put in.
I'm not worried.
What work was he putting in?
It's not about what he's eating. It's about how he plays the game.
He ate his chunky soup,
and he will be fine. He'll be just fine.
Super thick.
He'll be just fine.
You might want to line him up at running back, maybe fullback.
I mean, if he could,
might be the spot.
I mean, if he could get me that first down on 3rd and 1, that's something we haven't been able to do very frequently. So I'll take it. I'll take that quarterback sneak or that little QB.
No, I'm not. He's not at QB anymore, Chris. He's fullback 1 on the roster.
But he's handed the ball off to Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon's coming back to town. Let's ride beefcakes as Broncos. That's right.
Beefcake.
Let's ride. So
slap Scotty. Marie, listen, he was a little thick.
You've already mentioned you don't like the win total on the over for the Broncos. You think it's the worst bet in football. So I'm not going to.
No way you don't at least. The worst case scenario you push. At 10?
No, it's not.
10,
it's 9.5. 9.5.
When I said that, it was at 10, and I was like, what?
I'll take double-digit wins for the Broncos. Easy. I'll take the over 9.5. That's fine. They'll win 10 games. Guaranteed. I'll bet you on that one.
Let's do it at 10.
We'll do that at 10. We'll do that before the season.
Marie says it's at 10, so
I have FanDuel Sportsbook open right now, and it's 9.5 minus 135. But that's I don't know. DraftKings might be different. Depends on your sportsbook. So just keep that in mind. But
Broncos, what do you think he really weighs? I think he's, what is he, 5'8", probably 220. I don't think that's serious.
Either way. So let's dive into their roster here. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler, the big ones here. Obviously, they lost some depth at when they lost Tim Patrick. That's a big one. I think that's a huge piece for me because I think he was one of the better receivers on this core going into the mid to late last season. He was very reliable, and he was a guy that really took advantage of those red zone opportunities. So, with that being said, I really think the Broncos take a hit there. So, Alberto, I think he'll be fine. I think I'm worried just as much as I am about the San Diego offensive depth when it comes to their receiver core. I'm pretty worried about this if we lose Sutton, Jeudy, or Hamler. Jeudy and Hamler both coming off injuries. It's that's where my concern lies with this team because Russell Wilson needs someone to throw to, and you don't have a lot after that. Otherwise, Patrick Surtain, I think he'll take a step forward. You got some nice free safety and Justin Simmons holding on the backside. Kareem Jackson re-signed. Ronald Darby re-signed. So our secondary, I think, is one of the better secondaries in the AFC West, where I think other teams may not have as good of a secondary. So I'll take that in a quarterback league where we're trying to defend a lot of what we have going with these other quarterbacks. Where we have a disadvantage is the pass rush. I think we don't have a great pass rush in comparison to the other teams in this. And that's a big, big factor. But keep in mind, Denver Broncos defense finished 8th in yards allowed, 6th in passer rating allowed, 15th average yards allowed per carry, and 3rd in red zone touchdown percentage allowed in last year. Pretty good for a team that doesn't have a really good linebacking core and really kind of struggled when it came to, that was also due to us holding the ball a long period of time and not doing anything with it. So they got a lot of rest. There's a lot of factors that go into that. I get that. But the defense had a nice little, the Broncos defense wasn't terrible last season. And I think it'll be good this season. I think it'll be fine in this division. I think, again, our secondary is where we're going to rely as we stay healthy. So that's going to pay dividends when it comes to the long balls. We don't have to worry about Tyreek in Kansas City. We don't have to worry about, there are good receivers. We have to worry about Devontae Adams, but I digress. Either way, I think the Broncos are competitive enough to finish second in this division. And I think that they will over the San Diego. I'm going to do that every single time.
It's unbelievable. They haven't been in San Diego for 3 years, Chris.
Maybe that's how much
3 years.
Maybe that's how much I care about the San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers.
San Diego Superchargers.
They will always be San Diego. Always. So there you have it. I think that's where we're at. I think the Russell Wilson is a massive deal. He's a top 10 quarterback in this league, and even given his heftiness, his height, his everything, he'll be just fine. Yep. I think he'll survive. The running game, Javonte Williams, I'm excited to see what he has. You want to talk about fantasy stud? If you have you don't like him, I do.
Stop now, Chris. Stop now.
Okay.
Don't advise. Well, actually, advise everyone to take Javonte Williams. Everybody that's playing in our fantasy league, take Javonte first round.
There you
Second
go.
round, third round. If he's available, take him.
Okay.
All right. So, listen, Chris. I know. I'm going to be called a hater. I'm going to be called all sorts of things.
I'm ready for this. I've been preparing this for a whole week.
For picking, and I didn't know. I knew I would pick Denver to be third or fourth, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, why are they better than the Raiders who finished second in this division and only got better this year? Much better. Listen, I'm worried about the reports out of camp is that the defense is literally won every day of camp. I'm fine with this defense winning a lot of the days. Every day? Every day? I'm worried about you have a new quarterback. You have a new head coach who's a first-time head coach. You have a first-time offensive coordinator. You have a first-time defensive coordinator. This is unheard of, Chris. I don't know if this has ever happened. I literally don't know if you've ever had a team that has a new quarterback with a new head coach that's a first-time head coach and a first-time offensive coordinator and a first-time defensive coordinator. I literally don't think that's happened before. I think there's a learning curve, Chris. I really do. I think moving from the positions they're going to, none of them have been a coordinator outside of the head coach, obviously, Nathaniel Hackett. He's almost as cheesy, by the way, as Russell. So they're gonna get along. They're gonna
get along great.
Yeah. I'm worried about this offense, Chris. And then you lose Patrick, and everyone's like, well, at least if we're gonna lose somebody at one position, at least we're deep at wide receiver. And I'm like, where is the deepness? Where is the deepness? Jerry, I think what people look at is Jerry Jeudy's a first round pick. KJ Hamler's a second round pick. Cortland Sutton's a second round pick. So you have a lot of draft capital in those three guys, right? However, outside of Cortland 3 years ago, I should say 3 seasons ago, where he had a great season, then he tore his ACL. He wasn't great. I feel like players in general that come off of ACLs come back, and that first year, they're not who they were. So I expect a bump from Cortland this year. Like, Cortland wasn't very good. Like, Cortland had like 750 yards last year. Like, not great for who Cortland should be, right? I know the quarterback play is going to be improved, but that's not great. However, I think relying on KJ Hamler this year when he's not even close to practice, I mean, he just got removed off the pup and he's ways away. I think relying on Hamler at all this year for the Broncos is not a good strategy. So you're left with Jeudy, who's incredibly unreliable, and Cortland Sutton, who I think will be good, but not great. Like, this wide receiver core is not deep, and it's not that good. You don't even have a number one. You have debatably 2 number 2s left. I think Patrick was your most reliable wide receiver, quite frankly, and the guy who's your best third down option because he will catch anything that comes his way. He will not drop the ball like a Jerry Jeudy will on third down. So I think that's a pretty big loss. As far as the running back situation, I think everything I've seen out of camp is that it's not going to be different from last year, Chris. It's going to be 1A, 1B. Javonte Williams is going to get carries, and you still have, why am I drawing a blank? Melvin Gordon, who's going to get about the same amount of carries. It's a tandem. It's a tandem backfield. So anyone hyping Javonte Williams in fantasy, I think is wrong. Because everything out of camp that I've heard is that it's 1A, 1B. And that they're going to split carries. So I agree with you. I think this is the best secondary probably in the AFC West. I don't like their front seven that much, though. Randy Gregory, offseason signing. I like Randy Gregory, but he hasn't practiced yet. He's hurt, hasn't practiced, and doesn't seem like he's close to practicing. Nick Chubb on the other side, can't rely on Nick Chubb, right? Like, can't. No, I say Nick Chubb. Bradley Chubb, sorry. Bradley Chubb on the other side. Can't rely on him. He's injury prone and hasn't proven to be anything since his rookie year, really. So the pass rush isn't great. You lost Shelby Harris in the interior, which was your best interior guy. So many Chubbs, right, G-Girl? Like, so many Chubbs.
So many Chubbs.
Way too many Chubbs. But I think this team can build and is could be very good in a year, but I think it's gonna take time. I think to meld with the wide receiver core and the offensive line and the play caller and to become a first-time head coach and first-time coordinator on offense and defense, all of that is gonna have some learning curve to it, and that's why I think they finished 4th. And honestly, I think that's I feel pretty good about that.
I don't know there always is. We see this in any sport, right? Any sport, you have a lot of turnover in the offseason. There's a lot of getting up to speed with, and I do acknowledge that they will have a learning curve. I just think that with this roster, I feel like the biggest thing, and one of the bigger things that I'm worried about too, is given the fact that a lot of these other teams in the on the defensive side, when it comes to the pass rush, got a nice little boost when it came to finding pass rushers. You got, we already mentioned the pass rushers in Las Vegas. We already mentioned about what the Chargers have. And honestly, those two teams have the best pass rushers in the AFC West. And that's what concerns me a little bit more, especially, I acknowledge that also Russell Wilson.
Fingers, say to the face.
Russell Wilson. Slap.
No, I was laughing at Broncos. Blah blah blah. Love the Chiefs. Blah blah blah. Call me Charlie Brown right now. Like totally. Blah blah blah.
But
yeah,
I think it's weird. Like this feels like a rock paper scissors division, right? Like some teams that are good at one thing may not be as good as other, right? Like there are certain aspects of certain teams that have better advantages. The Broncos secondary, the Chargers, and the they have better pass rush, whereas the Chiefs have a better quarterback in the grand scheme of things. Like, and they're all good quarterbacks, but I feel like there's just certain areas. I mean, the Raiders don't have a good second. And like, there's all sorts of different ways you can balance some of these matchups. So it'll be interesting to see how these end up playing out over the course of the season. Either way, it's going to be must-see TV when it comes to how this pans out. But we've spent a lot of time on the Broncos. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about the Chiefs. Chiefs, obviously.
I'll let you go first on the Chiefs.
All right. So Chiefs are minus 210 to win the Super Bowl in general. Oh, no, wait, hold on. No. Sorry. That was the win.
What?
That was the win plus 10 games. My bad. I was looking at the wrong thing. Plus 950 to win the Super Bowl behind Tampa and Buffalo, which means they're favored to win this division. Plus 155 over the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. So the Chiefs have a whole middle school full of receivers.
I love G-Girl before was like talking about the Broncos. She's like, I don't agree with you a lot, and you're so spot on now. Which I feel like every time anyone compliments me in the chat, they preface it with like, you're kind of an idiot, but I agree with you on this point. And that's fair. I am an idiot. It's totally fair. I've noticed that through time that like, even when they're like, hey, you're making really good points, it's prefaced by like, but you're also an idiot.
Yeah, that's true.
Just had to say that.
No, just kidding. All right. So obviously Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches in the league, if not the best coach in the league. Key free agent additions. Obviously, Ronald Jones, running back from the Bucks. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Packers. Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, key free agent departures. Big one. Got one big one.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill traded to Miami.
I thought you were going to say Dan Sorensen.
No.
That threw me off.
That's a big one. Dan Sorensen is if only you could have kept Dan Sorensen. Let's just say that. I think you're pretty much hyped on Sky Moore. Sky Moore is a nice little promising player from your second round draft from the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think that could be a nice little boost for you, especially with, here's the thing. I think the biggest thing going into this season was the wide receivers. You lost one of your dynamic wide receivers, but for me, that's not one of the things that I really focus on, because when you have the best quarterback in the league, you can make anybody good, right? Like that's kind of the calling card of a good quarterback, right? A really, really good quarterback, great quarterback. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that he'll maybe revive some of the careers of like a Juju Smith, but Mecole Hardman's 24. You got Juju's 25. They're both young kids. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's an old man. I don't know if he's got a lot left. He's 27, but he could do some things, right?
It's like he's old. He's old. He's 20. He's 27.
But he's been around a little bit. He'll be fine.
He's one of the best deep threats in the league. But yeah, go on.
Okay. So, and then you got Josh Gordon. Nice, see, I think there's some, it doesn't matter who you put. He's going to be able to get people the ball. You got Travis Kelce still. I think some of the areas that I mean, you got Frank Clark and Chris Jones on the defensive side, a defense that struggled early on in the season, but also picked it up towards the end of the season, got better and better as the season went on. So that was promising for them, but it was a little concerning early on. This is a team that didn't win big like they are used to winning, as they used to, like when, a lot of close games, a lot of games where they didn't necessarily cover the big spreads.
I think that was 2 years ago, Chris.
They didn't cover a lot of big spreads. No, that was the past year. They didn't cover a lot of big spreads, but they still won games. So they were competitive in a lot of games. But, I mean, looking at this team, I think, and I want to ask you this question.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at this roster real quick. Let me look at the depth chart here, because I'm looking at this. Where is it? Okay. Secondary: Juan Thornton, Justin Reed, Trent McDuffie, Willie. I'm
not even sure you said any of those names correctly. Say those again.
Juan Thornhill,
safety. Yep.
Justin Reed,
great. Love that safety.
Trent McDuffie,
1-2. Rookie first round pick. Yep.
Okay.
Corner.
So he's got some learning to do, right? I mean, he'll be fine,
Maybe.
but he's got some learning to do.
Maybe.
Linebacking core: Nick Bolton, Jermaine Carter, Willie Gay.
And probably a rookie we drafted that moves in, but Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are very, very good.
Okay. So, middle linebacker, maybe a little bit of a hole then?
No, linebacking core is not a hole.
Okay.
Leo Chenal will move into the other linebacker, and Leo Chenal and Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are by far the best linebacking core in this division. Not even remotely close. Okay. Very, very good linebacking core.
Okay.
Go on, Chris. What else you got?
And then pass rush. Frank Clark, Chris Jones.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
Karlaftis we drafted in the first round, and then we recently signed Carlos Dunlap, who's probably not on your website you're looking at.
Best defensive end in football.
In football, he did have like a decent amount of sacks last year and not a lot of opportunities. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think the D line. Well, and talking about the D line, it all comes down to Clark, because Chris Jones, I think, is the second best interior pass rusher in football, behind Aaron Donald. I think Chris Jones is very, very elite. We just haven't had a lot from the outside. Last year, we did not have a lot from the outside. Frank Clark gave up red meat and alcohol this year and has lost like 20 pounds. He looks way, way thinner in camp. He definitely is way, way thinner. I'm not ready. I don't want to anoint Frank Clark. Like, he's been a disappointing signing since we traded for him in general. So I'm going to wait to see what happens in the season, but he's at least saying and doing the right things appearance-wise to be a difference maker on the edge like he was in Seattle. Like, if he can be who he was in Seattle, like, that's an elite pass rusher from the edge to go along with Karlaftis has been good in camp. I'll move to the offensive side. Wide receiver core. Yeah, we lost Tyreek Hill. He's good. He's very, very good. We don't have anyone that can replace him. Not even close, Chris. But we're so much deeper at wide receiver. So much deeper. Juju fits perfectly for the short to intermediate. He's the possession guy that can make our catches when we need him to pick up like a third and short. You have Valdez-Scantling, who can take it over the top. Sky Moore, the rookie, has looked... And this is from guys like reporters in camp that are like, I didn't think Sky Moore would contribute a lot this year. And then they see him in camp and they're like, I was wrong.
Everybody looks good.
Okay. Sky Moore looks very good in camp. And then you have McCole Hartman. Like, they're 4 deep at wide receiver, and they're going to be fine. And they don't have an elite running back, but they have they have like 4 guys at running back that could all contribute, including a 7th rounder, Isaiah Pacheco, that looks very good in camp. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. And here's what it all comes down to, Chris. football in general, unfortunately, comes down to who has the best quarterback and who has the best head coach. Those are the two most important things on a team, in my mind. I could be wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong.
You're not
But when
wrong.
you look at that, who has the best quarterback in this division, Chris?
It's Kansas City.
Who has the best coach in this division, Chris?
Las Vegas.
Okay.
No. Yeah, Kansas City. Andy Reid's one of the best the coaches in the NFL.
So let's keep in mind. What did you say the win total was for the Chiefs? Like a 10?
Right now, we have the win total for the Chiefs at, let's see, Kansas City, 10.5.
Okay. Andy Reid on with the Chiefs with Alex Smith. Do you remember the year? It was a running joke. The Chiefs did not throw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver all season. Do you remember that? It was like a running joke. It was a thing. What do you think the Chiefs' record was that year, Chris?
I couldn't tell you.
10-6. They were 10-6 without throwing a touchdown pass in 16 games to a wide receiver. Are you telling me that this roster with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and let's keep in mind, they still have the best tight end in the league as well. Let's not even bring him up. And when I say they might have the best offensive line in the NFL, I mean it. Outside of right tackle, which is a little bit of a question mark, but still okay, they're so good everywhere else. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, elite. It's a great offensive line. They have the best tight end in the league. The wide receiving core is deep. There's not a Tyreek Hill, but maybe that turns out to be a good thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this is gonna be a top 5 offense in the league. There's no way this isn't a top 5 offense. You move to the defense, you're right. They have a lot of youth they're gonna rely on, especially in the secondary. They did they lost Tyrann Mathieu. They replaced with Justin Reed. We'll see how that goes. I like Justin Reed, but who knows? You mentioned Juan Thornhill, but like Trent McDuffie's a rookie. They might start another. They have Snead, who's their other corner, L'Jarius Sneed, but then their third corner might be another rookie. They have 2 guys that they're looking at there, so they're going to be young in the secondary, especially at corner. So that is an unproven area for sure. But this team is the best team in the division and should be the favorite. And the fact that they're at plus 155 is wild to me. I think that's crazy. They should be closer to even odds, in my opinion.
So you need to get some money on them then.
I will. It's a great division. The Chiefs, just until they're taken off, like, I know these teams are better and improved, but the Chiefs have owned this division for the last 6 years. I know I said I think they've won it 6 years in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Current
they own it. They own it.
Current division winners from the history of this division: AFL, AFC West, all the way back to when it was the Dallas Texans and the Chiefs. Broncos have 15 division championships. You are at 14. The Raiders 15, Chargers 15. That is the most even spread of division winners probably of any division in football. Would you think?
It sounds pretty even, Chris.
But you need
irrelevant for this year. But
if the Chiefs win this year, it'll be 15 each division titles all time. Kind of wild.
Broncos is I think the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. Diacola might win the division, but they will once again watch the Super Bowl from their couch, which is a little ironic because they've played in 2 of the last 4 Super Bowls.
One thing I will say that
in the other 2, they were in the AFC Championship in overtime. So maybe not.
One thing I will say about this, we've talked a lot about. All right, so best quarterbacks win more than anything, right? That's what you need to win. Keep in mind, the best quarterback, it doesn't always win the Super Bowl. Like that's just a fact, right? The best quarterback in the league. You could be the MVP. You could be Aaron Rodgers of the league this many times. You could be Brett Favre and only win very minimal Super Bowls, like one Super Bowl. You could be Dan Marino, be one of the best quarterbacks in the league and not win very many Super Bowls. It is hard to win Super Bowls regardless of how good you are as a quarterback. A lot has to go right. So with that being said, just because, there's some good quarterbacks in the league doesn't mean the number one quarterback wins it every single year. So,
sure.
I mean, that's always an argument I always say when it comes to all right, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He's going to win it every year.
But they often win their division.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But it's also, again, coaching. It's also, the Rams won last year. There's a lot of factors that play into a full season, which makes the NFL what it is, right? So you're not always getting the, Aaron Rodgers and so we'll find out. It'll be a fun season. I can't wait. AFC West is going to be fire.
Is going to be so fun.
It's going to be fire, and I can't wait. We're going to watch a lot of these games. Thursday Night Football, guys, is going to be fire this year. We keep getting a little bit more information on maybe having some fun on Thursday night with you guys and maybe having some fun things to talk about. We'll keep you posted, but we don't want to say anything too early. Guys, stick with us here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Catching up in the chat.
There's a lot in the chat we didn't get
Broncos, I think Scott just had the Chiefs baby. I did. I, in fact, have had many Chiefs babies. Mr. Boofus Doofus, you don't think the Raiders could possibly take the division? I mean, I think it's possible. I'm not going to pick it. I'm definitely not going to pick it. I mean, they're clearly the long shot according to Vegas. I like them probably more than most, quite frankly, but I would not pick them to win a division. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. I think they're a good team. They're a good team just in a really good division, unfortunately. Let's see. G Girl, I love the Coach QB comment. Look, see, she's slowly coming around to always agreeing with me. She's like, he might be a genius.
That's right.
I think that's part of the problem with people giving me a compliment and why they have to preface it with like a negative thing is when I get a compliment, I take it like it gets in my head real quick and I just put it out of proportion. Like it's annoying. It's
like when someone says, "Hey, I love what you're doing with your look," but
yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah, the chairman said she's like slowly, and chairman's like she'll get there. Chairman knows. Chairman agrees with me on everything. Chairman might be a genius as well. Maybe.
No. But yeah.
G Girl, I disagree with you all the time, Chairman, but I still love you. So, and now we've hit a crossroads again.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up all of our division previews. It's been a long road with that, and I'm so glad to get it just out there. You guys kind of have some ideas of what teams are working with when it comes to some of the big time, additions, subtractions, where we think they can potentially land on their division. So, go back. If you want to go back and look at some of these, you can check it out on our Spotify, on our iHeart, on our Apple, Amazon Music, anything. We have it all there. Also, we will be posting all these videos on YouTube, so make sure you go check out YouTube channel. I'm trying to get those uploaded. I'm playing a little catch up on YouTube, so make sure you just go in and I'll get all of those added. Rant of the Week SGG is coming up right now, so don't go anywhere. I know STG always pops in. He's like, man, I need to get that rant. I need to get that rant in. Scotty, you have something nice brewing with the rant. It
might be a little shorter of a rant, but it's a really bizarre thing that I see that I want to comment
on. Socials popped in the chat there. Go ahead and join our socials. We posted a TikTok earlier. Chairman of the board loves our latest TikTok, by the way.
Cuban makes a good point. Check out the Action Lab OnlyFans.
Yep.
Yeah. Make sure and check that out.
I feel like
we go live on OnlyFans. What days of the week, Chris?
Let's see. We stream Sundays and Wednesdays, so we go live Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Saturdays are off day, guys, but check us out on OnlyFans. Yeah. I'm a younger version of that weird YouTube guy.
We haven't converted to the hot tub streams yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Marie's like, what? All right, we don't have an OnlyFans Marie. Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. No.
I mean, let us know. Maybe take a poll, Chris. Do we need an OnlyFans?
We might have to get one.
This is out of control. This is out of control.
We might have to get one. All right. It's on the list. I'll add it to the list. Where's my pen? Because I write things down, right? Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. We have Scotty A. Smith's rant of the week here, coming in hot, and a lot of things going in the news with the NFL. We're only going to keep things ramping up, but he's got some things to say about a particular subject. And then we are going to wrap up the show with a little VIN SCULLY, something really cool. You're not going to want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. It feels like it'll make you feel fuzzy inside going into the rest of your week. I guarantee it. So let's go ahead. Let's hit it. Scotty A. Smith coming in hot.
All right, guys. I'm just gonna briefly discuss training camp injuries here. So, listen, we've had some injuries this week. We talked about Tim Patrick, James Washington, new signing wide receiver in Dallas, Jordan Poyer, the NFL first team All Pro safety from Buffalo, dislocated his elbow a couple days ago. Like, all of these injuries occurred, and I generally, when injuries happen, I'm weird. I'm a weird person. Obviously, you guys have figured this out. I go to the fans, like one of the fans websites, and I look at the comments after, in the article or whatever. I go to the blog or whatever, and I look at the comments, and all of the comments when a player gets injured is like, we gotta wrap them in bubble wrap. We can't shut it down. Stop practicing. Stop doing anything. Why are these guys even playing? Why are they touching each other at all? Is this football? They're not supposed to touch, are they? Tim Patrick, non-contact injury, but why is he even catching the ball? And it's insane to me, guys. It's insane to me. We talk about practice, which is important right now. These teams need practice. You need timing. You need the ability to gel as a team. You need to come together as a team. If any preseason practice is the most important, it's football. Everything is predicated on timing, on the ability to communicate, on everything. You work as a team, and you want to wrap them up in bubble wrap? They already wear fucking helmets from Spaceballs now. Which I don't even understand that. The argument is now they use their helmets more in practice because they're protected because they wear a Spaceballs helmet. Like, what's his name? I don't even know what his name is in Spaceballs. Dark Helmet or whatever his name is. It's insane there. But listen, guys, they gotta practice. They need to practice. So no, you can't wrap them up in bubble wrap. Yes, injuries are going to happen. Yes, you need to tackle in training camp. It's already softened up. The CBA has softened it so much where it's not anywhere near where it was a decade ago. But these guys have to be athletes and have to be football players. Injuries are a part of the game. The fact that you see that's with the Broncos, this is their third ACL in the last 3 years with a wide receiver, and they're like, get rid of the training staff, as if the training staff is responsible for an ACL tear. ACL tears happen. Did I not say Spaceballs, football wife? I meant Spaceballs. If I didn't say Spaceballs, I meant Spaceballs. ACL tears happen. It's a fact. I don't think it's a training staff mistake. If you have a lot of soft tissue issues, maybe that's when you move on from your training staff. But these issues, listen, these injuries suck, but they're just a part of the game, and it happens. You can't just stop practicing at all. Wrap them in bubble tape. Let them be human beings. Let's stop being so soft as a society that we can't let them practice because they might get a boo-boo. Yes, it sucks to see, preseason injuries. I want all of these guys to play. Everyone wants the best product on the field as possible. No one wants to see injuries. But at the same time, they're going to happen. It's inevitable. So stop shielding them from it and calm the fuck down and let them practice and enjoy the grind and enjoy the team building and enjoy them growing as a team. Tim Patrick, the Broncos, if all teams need practice. They need practice, Chris. They got a new quarterback, new coaching staff. You gotta get the timing down. They're not there yet. So they need practice. I know Allen Iverson's famous for saying, we talking about practice, but in this sense, we're talking about practice, and it means something. Why it matters, Chris.
I didn't know we were doing a why it matters subject here, but hey, there you go. And I will agree with you. If there's any team that needs practice, that's what it is. Hey, sports historian, thank you so much. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the love. Appreciate that. Who's your favorite team and where you're from? Like to get to know you about it, like what you're all about.
He says practice is needed, and he's a sports historian, so he's like the person to go to on this, Chris.
Roger.
That's right. G Girl, thank you for those.
He or she.
Thank you for those bits, G Girl, during that. Appreciate all the love. Now, if there's one, again, Broncos need a lot of it. Whenever you have new offense, you have new young kids coming into to the fold from your draft that you're really excited about, whether that's a wide receiver, you want to get those reps in. Like that's the biggest thing that you need. So realistically, that's the biggest aspect of this that, is it's so difficult. I mean, how do you plan or not plan for an ACL, right? That's just Thank you, Diacola, for the bits. Sports historian. I'm a sports fan known for sports debates. I'm focusing on two teams.
I mean, he's teasing. He or she is teasing us right now.
Ooh, I like it. What? Hey,
who are the teams?
What are your
teams? Who
teams?
Are you focused in on?
I love it. Let's hear what you got. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it was devastating to hear Tim Patrick, especially as a Broncos fan, knowing that that was a big piece. But that happens to every team. I mean, last year, Baltimore was devastated in the running back core. They were absolutely crushed. They lost everybody. And, it's just so... It's part of the game. It's part of the game. You have to deal with it. And that's what depth plays into it. And I feel for every single player that gets a season-ending injury, it's so, unfortunate, right? Like, these guys are humans, right? We want to be sympathetic for them, but it's like, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to work hard to get ready for the season. That's what they do. The only one that maybe shouldn't do anything is Anthony Davis for the Lakers. Maybe that's the only exception.
He shouldn't even move.
These guys have
he
bubble.
Should just sit on a couch.
These guys have bubble helmets.
Airlifted to a vehicle.
He needs a bubble in general, just overall. But it's just part of the game, and it seems like it's getting more and more frequent over the last couple of years. But it's like, what can you do, man? I think that's a big. Many called me a bandwagon, but I mean, you can support your team whatever you want. So, then I will focus more on the Lakers.
He's a Blue Jays than Lakers fan. So
okay,
I like the Blue Jays more than the Lakers, so I can be on board there. G Girl said my girl Paige tore her ACL. Yeah, Paige in UConn, second straight year. Devastating. I mean, the best player in women's college basketball.
It's crazy.
Tore ACL playing a pickup game even before the season. Sucks. It sucks, but she should have just done nothing ever, Chris. How dare her play a pickup game of the sport she's supposed to be good at?
She probably should have gone into the season cold and not had a single rep. Just go into the first game and not practice.
There's no chance that the fact that she's practiced. There's no chance she's so great because of the fact that she puts in the time and the work. That's not how she's great. She's just naturally great, Chris. Naturally great. It's silly. It's silly. These players, hey, if they get injured riding a motorcycle or dirt biking or skiing or something, yeah, that's ridiculous. Get mad about that, but don't get mad about them playing the sport they're trying to become perfect at and getting injured. That's gonna happen. It just happens. Yeah, that's Jay Williams, sports historian, no doubt.
By the way,
ruined his career.
Thank you for popping in, sports historian. We have a lot of new people popping in the stream tonight, so thank you so much for being a part of it. We can't wait to have you here back in the lab on Sunday. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave it tonight. But don't go anywhere because we have a nice little special thing for Vin Scully here coming up here in a quick second. We're going to leave you with that. So we're going to go in. We're going to talk a little bit about. We got to give you guys thanks for everything you guys do for us because honestly, you guys make this stream what it is. Don't leave yet. Wait till the end. I promise you, you won't want to miss it. So thank you guys so much for being a part of the stream. Again, my name is Chris. This is Scott. You know, obviously, we are your hosts for the Action Lab. You know, hey, Scotty, what are we?
Yes, sir.
We are the...
You're better at this.
We are the premier sports and entertainment talk show on Twitch. It's like chatting sports with your friends in your family room, except your friends are all over the world. Kind of fun. So yeah, that's what we do. That's what we are. So thank you for being a part of it. And we will be back here live on Sunday. So make sure you guys join in. We can't wait to have you as part of our Action Lab Rat family talking more. We got fantasy football rankings and just breakdowns coming up. Who we think are going to excel for your fantasy football teams. We're going to be making sure that you have all the top news and everything going on. There's so much to cover this time of year. We're gearing up. We got the first Hall of Fame game tomorrow, Scotty.
Tomorrow, Chris. Football. NFL football tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Again, don't leave, guys. We're doing a little Vin Scully thing. Thank you, guys. We'll try to host somebody at the end of this. I'll try to find out who is here. And actually, let me do that right now. But make sure if you missed the show or missed parts of the show, you go follow us on all of our socials. So that way you can catch up on anything you may have missed. Socials, there we go. And then you can make sure that, you know, we have our podcast as well. Search us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Amazon, all those things. Yeah, we'll have all of it there. YouTube is always a source for us as well. So let me pull up Twitch. Let me see what we have here. Anything else, Scotty?
No, appreciate you all. This was a lot of fun tonight, just like it is every Sunday and Wednesday. Thanks so much for joining. Hope you'll be back, and we'll keep bringing it. And thank you guys.
We're gonna give a nice little shout out to Human Juke. We've sent him some love a few times. He's great. He does a lot of fun music. So we will send you there that way after the stream is over. But stay tuned here. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna cue this up and. Normally we end our show with a nice message to you guys. Be a good person and go live in the moment. But in memory of Vin Scully, we're going to do something a little different tonight. So we'll leave you with this.
May God give you for every storm a rainbow, for every tear a smile.
Oops.
A promise and a blessing in each trial. For every problem life seems a faithful friend to share. For every sigh, a sweet song and an answer for each prayer. You and I have been friends for a long time, but I know in my heart that I've always needed you more than you've ever needed me. And I'll miss our time together more than I can say. But you know what? There will be a new day and eventually a new year. And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball. So this is Vin Scully, wishing you a very pleasant good afternoon, wherever you may be.